Mid to upper 80s, cooler tomorrow with a chance of rain tomorrow. Right now it's 63 degrees. Inside Sources is next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. Crews are still battling two wildfires that started within the last 24 hours. The Stillwater fire in Saratoga Springs has burned about 30 acres and is 35% contained. And the Tower fire in Scipio in Millard County has already burned around 1,000 acres. It's another example of how dangerous fire conditions are this year.
We've already seen lots of wildfires already igniting this spring that are burning more aggressively than they have in recent years.
That's Kaylee Guild with the Utah Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Lands. The good news is that the fires are not threatening homes as of last update. Portions of central and southern Utah are still under a red flag warning today. Construction is now underway at Donner Trail Park in Salt Lake's East Bench. KSL News Radio's McKenna Rodriguez explains why.
Construction at the park kicked off today, and there are plans for major park improvements. The upgrades include 2 new playgrounds to replace the old ones that will appeal to a wider variety of kids' ages and abilities, along with new pathways and a public art installation.
We're just really excited about how the improvements will change the park and how it will change kind of the way people can better engage with the space.
That was Janet Cunningham with Salt Lake City Public Lands. She says one really special update is the addition of a memorial tree grove where people can donate a tree in memory of their loved ones. McKenna Rodriguez, KSL News Radio.
Your money at this moment, the Dow and NASDAQ are both bouncing back. The Dow up 253 points to 51,120, and the NASDAQ up 448 points, almost 2% at 26,158. Coming up, we got another hot day. It's cool tomorrow, though, before a week-long warm-up. KSL weather's next, and we've got emergency traffic to check. KSL News Time, 9:02.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
There's one choice for Congress in Utah's 3rd District, Celeste Malloy. Celeste Malloy has President Trump's complete and total endorsement. She fought alongside President Trump to secure the border, grow the economy, protect the Second Amendment, and deliver results for Utah families. Thanks to Trump-endorsed Celeste Malloy, Utah families are seeing massive tax savings, safer communities, and a country that's getting back on track. President Trump and Utah can count on Celeste Malloy to deliver solutions. She will never let you down. On June 23rd, vote for Celeste Malloy, the Trump-endorsed candidate. She has President Trump's
complete and total endorsement.
Paid for by Winning for Women Action Fund and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.wfwactionfund.com. Winning for Women Action Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. Dee and I had the chance at Hale Center Theater to see the opening night of not only My Fair Lady, but Harmony. 2 great presentations right now on 2 amazing stages. I want to talk about My Fair Lady first. I've had the chance to enjoy My Fair Lady, the West End in London and New York on Broadway, and of course the iconic movie. But I have to tell you, I don't think I have ever enjoyed My Fair Lady more than watching it on the stage at Hale Center Theater. Spectacular staging, gifted performances, great music, the voices, incredible, and the costuming. You're going to love My Fair Lady. It's on now at Hale Center Theater. Then there's Harmony, the story of a 6-man German choral comedy group who gained great fame in the late 20s and early 30s, only to be undone by the Nazis. This is a powerful performance. Don't miss it. Get your tickets now. Harmony and My Fair Lady at Hale Center Theater, hct.org for your tickets.
Emergency traffic brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. Here's Cormac Bone with the update.
And it is due to this accident northbound I-15 at 5300 South in Murray. They are still blocking that left lane and shoulder. Heavy delays reaching back toward 106 South. But otherwise, your I-15 delays have really eased out. Just a little slow northbound I-15 in Utah County in Linden approaching Pleasant Grove Boulevard. And in Davis County, South 15 still pretty heavy at 500 South in Bountiful. Those are residual delays due to a crash that was in Woods Cross. They've cleared that off the road. And if you get off at Beck Street, still do expect heavy delays in that construction zone, that one lane only approaching Victory Road. Homeowners, Gillette Services is putting $1,000 in your pocket with a rebate on new installations, and you pay nothing until 2027. Call 385-GET-HEAT for your free estimate. Comfort now, pay later. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather will have a high of 88 today before it dives down to 76 tomorrow. Then we crawl back to the 70s and into the 80s with a high of 87 on Friday and Saturday with a lot of sun. Right now, 63 degrees and mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So this was both disappointing but also not surprising to see over the weekend. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was not included among Christian faiths on a revised list of religions from the Department of Defense.
That's so unusual, I thought. And not only that, but several religions were not included on the list at all. The Department of Defense says the list will help them provide the best spiritual care to members of the armed services.
So it actually went from over 200 different denominations down to 31. So the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is still listed, but they're listed as a non-Christian denomination. So it has a lot of people upset, including Utah's congressional delegation. And I'm at least raising an eyebrow going, okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit offensive. We do have to make a quick disclaimer here, and that is that KSL is owned by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but they don't make editorial decisions for KSL.
And I'm an active member.
Sure.
So look, my very first take is, why are you surprised? Because we have seen this at least going back to Romney. This predates President Trump's first run.
You're right. Romney did take a lot of, what's the word? Some of the evangelicals were not prepared to recognize him as a member
Christian.
of a Christian faith.
Yeah,
right.
and I think that I thought that was very clear, right? That there are people who are Christian who don't recognize members of the Church of Jesus Christ with that in our name as Christian, and there's doctrinal differences. There's lots of different ways to parse this, but one of the things that, again, like, my question is, why are you surprised, Senator Mike Lee? He's posted dozens of times.
Oh, he is
dozens.
upset.
He's really upset. But why are you surprised, Senator? Because, I mean, this is something that the evangelical Christian side has made clear for a very long time.
I thought one of his posts was kind of humorous, tongue-in-cheek. He said, if only we as Latter-day Saints belonged to a church that had Jesus Christ in its name and his image in its logo, oh, wait.
Yeah. And he included the logo, which does have the name also, and then and a picture of Christ. But I also, so this morning I checked, and there were something like 3,400 comments. when I was looking through them yesterday, they only had 1,000 comments, and I would say the ratio was somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 to 1. 100 posts saying, yeah, you're not Christian, and one person saying, well, yeah, we are.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Nationally. Still not recognized.
Not recognized. And there were people who were like, look, I totally support your politics, Senator, but you're blasphemous. You are not a Christian in any way, shape, or form, and you're not going to go to heaven. I'm paraphrasing.
I don't know how you say that. You know what I mean? In terms of if you look at the church and you look at its doctrine, if you looked at the great works that it recognizes, I mean, how can you say that it's not a Christian religion? I mean, you and I both attended funerals in the last couple of days. How many times did you hear, and I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ?
Right.
Amen.
I know. I know. And, one of the questions is, for me, is like, well, what does this matter? Because so I have two questions, I guess, as part of that. One is, the Department of Defense is saying this is going to make it easier for the chaplains to provide care for members of the military for some reason, being able to, quote unquote, streamline this list of religions. So that's one question, is how does that make it easier for chaplains? My other question is more of a maybe legal question for you, is this a first step towards saying there will only be a handful of recognized religions in the United States, which to me then totally collapses the First Amendment?
Yeah, it does. But before we get to that, let me answer your first question. The Department of Defense is saying that what this does is it sort of congregates a group of, like, they would have chaplains who would be multi-denominational, apparently, and they would be chaplains for the Christian religions. In other words, they wouldn't have to have 20 different chaplains. They could have one who would be presiding over Christian religions. Everybody that participates in those religions would be able to attend that ceremony. I mean, I don't think they would.
And then a separate one for people who are members of the LDS
That's
Church?
what makes no sense. That's what makes no sense. That what are they? They're leaving it out, and in a way that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, you could call yourself a Christian religion and, like, let's just be inclusive. Second, the First Amendment, this is your more important question, I think, talks about they call it the Establishment Clause, that the government can't establish a religion. Is this a step closer to that? Well, it's certainly a step closer to establishing, as the Christian overall faith has certain religions that it recognizes, and I don't think that that's something that the government should be putting itself on. They shouldn't be doing that. That's what bothers me a little bit. So they've gone from 200 religions down to, 31? And they've named the ones that
including
are Christian.
Agnostic and no religion at all.
Right, yeah, right. And so, no, it doesn't make sense to me at all. Why? And I don't understand why you do this at all. Was he getting some pushback from religious people? I mean, my son went to the Air Force Academy when he was in college, and they had this huge chapel, this big, gorgeous chapel.
Oh, it's gorgeous. In fact, my brother got married there.
Yeah, but it was multi-denominational. They didn't distinguish who could go to church there, and nor should they. And it was just a beautiful facility, and people would participate. And they were of course, it's close to Utah, I guess, but they were quite accepting of the members of the church.
Yeah, and I think I've seen that overall. So it was the Department of Defense under Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth who made this determination. And again, like you said, they said this is to help our chaplains. And I have to be honest, I don't know enough about the distinctions for chaplaincy. I just don't know enough, right? I know they provide pastoral care. I know that there are LDS chaplains. I know that there are LDS female chaplains, because that's happened in the last year or so. But I don't know enough to be able to say how is going from 200 to 31 making it easier on the chaplains. I don't know.
Trump is very popular among members of the church, it seems. I wonder if this will affect that in any way. I wonder if some people will feel, because you can't put Pete Hegseth out on a limb by himself. I mean, this is part of the Trump administration. He's a predominant member of his cabinet. So for him to do this is a reflection somewhat, in my opinion, on the president himself in terms of how church members might look at this.
Senator Lee this morning said that he had a conversation with the president, and while he couldn't share details, he was happy, I'm paraphrasing, but he was happy with the direction that the talks were going to re-include members of the church in this Christian designation, but they even have like Christian other, right? And so when they go down this list, so there's quite a variety, including Jehovah's Witnesses who don't join the military.
Well, and except for Blake Moore, who hasn't posted at all, virtually all of our representatives, senators, and congressional representatives chimed in on this, and they were of one mind. It seemed to be very supportive of the notion that the Church of Jesus Christ is very much a Christian religion. Well, like we mentioned earlier in the segment, this whole discussion on whether the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are Christian isn't new. It's been happening for close to 200 years. Coming up on Inside Sources, let's talk about this back and forth and how things came to a head when Mitt Romney ran for president in 2012. Stay with us.
This year, Utahns are celebrating the 250th anniversary of our country, Utah style. Everything from Utah's red rock deserts and blue skies to our snowy peaks and canyons are worth celebrating. As America marks this historic anniversary, we invite you to honor the stories that ground us, the history of the people who came before us, and the places that shape us. Celebrating with Utah style means looking out for your neighbors, sharing a meal, working hard, dreaming, innovating, and finding connections with the people who make Utah, Utah. It's our land, our communities. It's our way of showing up for something bigger than ourselves. So raise a glass or a dirty soda and join us in celebrating our place in the American story. Find ways to celebrate and commemorate with your community this summer at america250.utah.gov.
Summer has a way of bringing life's biggest moments back around. The first date, the wedding day, the promise that started it all. Duke's Jewelers knows jewelry is more than a gift. It's a reminder of the people and memories that matter most. This anniversary season, celebrate your story with something meaningful. From timeless diamond bands to custom pieces designed just for them, the Duke's Jewelers team is here to help you find a gift they'll treasure for years to come. And while you're celebrating the love stories in your life, don't forget Dad this Father's Day. With distinctive watches, bands, and gifts he'll actually wear and enjoy. For nearly 80 years, families have trusted Duke's Jewelers for life's most meaningful moments. Visit dukesjewelers.com or on Main Street in Springville. Duke's Jewelers, celebrating your story, generation after generation. dukesjewelers.com. Kitchen and bath transformations start with AMC Building Materials. AMC Building Materials is a large kitchen cabinet and countertop supplier serving both wholesale and retail customers. AMC offers factory direct pricing on all interior remodeling materials, giving you exceptional value without sacrificing quality. Most standard items are available for quick payment and pickup right away. AMC Building Materials provides professional service, free design, and free on-site measurements, along with expert installation by top AMC professionals. From bold kitchen designs to beautiful functional bathrooms, AMC delivers outstanding value with styles you'll love. And best of all, most projects can be completed within just 10 days. Come experience beauty you can see, quality you can feel, and service you can trust. Get directions to the new AMC Building Materials showroom at 3678 South 700 West today and schedule your free estimate. Visit amckitchenslc.org. That's amckitchenslc.org.
Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, a gripping new 9-part investigative podcast about a serial killer you've probably never heard of, Warren Forrest, a sadistic predator who prowled the Pacific Northwest in the early 70s. He hid behind the deeds of Ted Bundy, and he's only been convicted of 2 murders, but is suspected of many more. Since the release of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, a witness identified in the podcast could lead investigators to the remains of Jamie Grissom.
He ran into the woods. He said he stumbled. As he fell down, he looks up and sees the body of a young woman.
And now the FBI is testing forensic evidence that had been collecting dust for decades. This cold case is now red hot. Binge the entire season of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley right now, wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the latest breaking news.
Joe Fallon did something smart. He saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With that money, he commissioned a portrait of himself. Does Joe already know what he looks like? Yes. Do guests know what he looks like? Also yes, but not as art. It's Joe's savings, and if he wants to spend it on a velvet painting of himself with a white tiger at his feet, we say, roar, Joe, roar. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Utah homeowners enter to win a new AC from Vyrock Heating and Cooling. Visit VyrockAir.com. All applicants receive a free AC evaluation. Vyrock Heating and Cooling. VAIRockair.com.
And expanded Inside Sources.
Let's continue our discussion this morning on the revised list of religions from the Department of Defense and how the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was not included with other Christian religions.
So it's not necessarily a new discussion. It's been happening really since the church was founded in 1830. I think it really hit a large level of national consciousness when Mitt Romney entered the national political stage when he ran for president.
Right. It was a big discussion because a lot of people were critical of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and especially some evangelical churches. What we're talking about is a discussion from the Department of Defense as it apparently aims to streamline the spiritual care provided by chaplains to members of the military.
So this segment, I'd really like to talk with Sarah Weaver. She's the editor of the Deseret News. She's the former editor of the Church News, and really have a conversation about what this means, if anything. Thanks for joining us, Sarah.
Thank you, as always, for having me. I love discussions with you too.
Well, we love having you with us. So I just wanted to talk about this. I'm not surprised that a list came out. I would say Pete Hegseth is pretty clear that he's an evangelical Christian, and they largely don't consider members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to be Christian. But I guess one of my questions for you is, does this ultimately matter?
Well, you know, a lot of people are questioning this Pentagon policy because they care about the designations, including Senator Mike Lee and Senator John Curtis, who are both members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and both took to X to challenge the designation. And Senator Lee actually said he cared so much about it that he spoke to President Trump personally about it yesterday and reported he was happy with the conversation. Now, I don't know exactly what that means, but it does mean that at least for Senator Lee and so many of us, the designation is personal.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about that. This is something that I saw. It's a person that I don't actually know on X who said this: listen, it's fine if you as an individual don't think Mormons are Christian, or if you don't think Catholics are Christian or Protestants, but the government should not be deciding who is and is not Christian. And that is the problem with what the Pentagon did. And I saw that Senator Mike Lee also said something that was pretty similar, right? Is the government shouldn't be deciding this. What is your take on that?
Well, and I actually saw something from New York Times columnist David French on this. And he says the issue with the Pentagon list has nothing to do with theology and everything to do with the Establishment Clause. And so, you know, as you know, the Establishment Clause is the first of several religious liberties that are enshrined by the First Amendment. And it sort of leaves us all believing that we get to choose for ourselves what we call ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so should the government be designating religious titles, or should faiths get to determine that?
Sarah, why is it that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints still has this stigma, and from what source, or how did it even start? I mean, I know that's a pretty broad question, but it seems to me that there's so much leading up to this, and I wonder why it is that the church still carries this stigma.
Well, and you know, there has been theology questions for as old as time. You know, since Christianity began, people have had theology questions that include the difference in theology between Protestants and Catholics and members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Now, it's interesting because the Church of Jesus Christ, under the frequently asked questions on their website, actually says, we are Christian. And they say it's a Christian church, but it's neither Catholic nor Protestant. And then it says, according to the theology of the church itself, it's a restoration of the Church of Jesus Christ as originally established by the Savior in the New Testament of the Bible. And that entry goes on to talk about the doctrine that talk about how they come to believe that they themselves are a Christian denomination or a Christian designation. And ultimately, they say their belief is that the only way to salvation is through faith in Jesus Christ.
So Sarah, I think I'm a member of the church, and I consider myself Christian. My concern, I guess it's not a concern. My question for you is, how do chaplains work, and how might this reclassification change, if anything, how chaplains might minister to people who are in the military?
Well, and I did see some interesting discussions online and on X about this being one way to meet the needs of different denominations of military. They said Latter-day Saints have different needs than, say, Protestant military personnel. And so they're going to treat that designation different than other Protestant designations. Now, you can argue or quibble about all of that. Some of that is a designation. Some of that are processes for implementation of support. Of course, a military chaplain's first job is to minister to the very individual and specific needs of military personnel. And actually, the Pentagon said that in their statement. They said, look, we place a high value on the First Amendment and on free exercise of religion. And then they said chaplains play an instrumental role in providing spiritual care and facilitating the ability to freely exercise a military person's religion of choice or no religion at all. And then according to the Pentagon themselves, they said, we believe we cannot provide the best data to support our chaplains in that effort, that we believe we can now provide the best data. So what they're saying is, hey, we had so many designations before. They went down from 300 to 31 or something?
Yeah, 200 something right? To 31, yes.
And now they're saying, because we've sort of narrowed this focus, our desire is to provide the best faith-based care for each of our individual military personnel.
Do you think there are a number of Utahns, especially those senators, Mike Lee, for one, who is pushing to have this designation change. I think he's going to probably even talk to the president. Do you think that that's an important thing, and that result is important to the church and how it's perceived nationally?
Well, I'll tell you, I can't speak for the church itself, but I can speak for me personally as a member, and it matters to me that people know that as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, that I believe in the Savior. And Senator Curtis, he said the characterization was just plain unacceptable. I loved that. He went right to X and says, this is unacceptable. And I just pulled up his tweet. He said, Latter-day Saints are among the most patriotic, service-oriented individuals in our country. They are unequivocally Christian. Just look at who is in the name of the church. It is unacceptable for a government entity to characterize a faith in a matter that contradicts the religion's own foundational tenets. And then he says, I'm working now to ensure correction is made. And he did tell our team of Deseret News reporters in Washington that he is meeting with the Pentagon today.
So interesting. And Sarah, we only have about a minute left, but I'm wondering if you feel like you've been watching what the church has done communication-wise for a long time. Do you think that they're going to have any kind of official response to this?
So I can't say whether or not they will. I think they believe that they have stated over and over again, including on their website, that their beliefs are sure. It's just been a few years since the church said, we want to de-emphasize the name Mormon and re-emphasize the full and correct name of the church. And part of that push was because they want people to hear the name Jesus Christ in the name of the church, because that is the center of the faith. That is who members worship, and that is what they want to emphasize.
All right. Thanks, Sarah. Always great to talk to you. That was Sarah Weaver, editor of the Deseret News and previous editor of the Church News. Look, it wasn't a great weekend for fires, and the fire danger is still quite high today. Utah Fire Watch is coming up next.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour, the University of Utah is changing it up, laying off some academic advising coaches. KSL News Radio's McKenna Rodriguez has details.
10 student success coaches at the U lost their jobs after their roles were completely eliminated. An additional 22 academic advisor roles were cut as well. Vice Provost for Student Success T. Chase Haygood says this is part of an advising redesign that focuses on making academic support more accessible for students.
They arrive at the University of Utah. It is our commitment to them that they can be successful.
The advising redesign will group advisors into certain regions based off of similar majors or career paths. Those recently laid off employees were encouraged to reapply for positions that support the new model. McKenna Rodriguez, KSL News Radio.
Hundreds of people in Eagle Mountain gathered for a second attempt at making a mile-long chain of positive messages. Ben Line is the founder of Show Me a Sign, a nonprofit encouraging people to do positive actions. His journey started by running through the town with a board reading, "I Believe in You," and he noticed it seemed to make people happy. So from there, he had an idea.
And I thought, what if we could form a mile-long chain of people holding signs side by side? And so I pitched it to the city. City was a big supporter of it. We made it happen.
Last year, over 1,000 people gathered to try for the mile-long chain, but they fell just short. Volunteers say it's not just about reaching the goal, but it's also about making an impact. Your money at this moment, the Dow up 76 points, a little bit down from the big gains it was seeing about a half an hour ago. The NASDAQ, though, has gained back 362 points to 26,072. Coming up, cool with a chance of rain tomorrow. KSL weather's next. We'll also check your traffic. KSL News Time, 9:31.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Summer shines a little brighter in Logan, Utah. Start your day on a canyon trail, cool off by the water, or cruise into the mountains for views that go on for miles. Then wander downtown for local shops, live theater, fresh flavors, and a scoop of small-town charm. From outdoor adventure to arts, dining, and easygoing summer nights, Logan delivers the summer getaway you didn't know you needed. Make this summer refreshingly fun in Logan. Plan your trip today at explorelogan.com. Summer takes center stage in Logan, Utah. Late May through August, Logan comes alive with theater, music, art, and can't-miss performances worth planning a getaway around. Catch a show, explore local galleries, stroll downtown, and enjoy a delicious dinner before the curtain rises. With mountain adventures by day and standing ovations by night, Logan turns summer into something refreshingly unexpected. Make your next getaway a little more dramatic, in the very best way. Plan your escape to the heart of the arts at explorelogan.com.
When it's hot like this, air conditioners struggle to keep up. Parts are under more stress, and sometimes those parts fail. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and no one helps more homeowners maintain and repair their air conditioners than Any Hour Services. As a matter of fact, last year, over 32,000 homeowners called Any Hour Services for help maintaining and repairing their systems. Any Hour Services has over 100 HVAC technicians to help with everything from maintenance, repair, to installing a new system. This summer, there'll be a lot of people told they need to replace their air conditioner, and they'll wonder, do I really need to? If you're told you need to replace your air conditioner and you still have questions, Any Hour Services can give you a second opinion and let you know what options are available. Maybe it just needs a little maintenance or a small repair. Maybe it does need to be replaced, but if you don't feel good about being told you need to replace your air conditioner, don't ignore those feelings. Call Any Hour Services for help with air conditioner maintenance, repair, or to schedule a free second opinion. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Pump up the volume. Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Receive 4% cash back on cruises at UCCU.com. Here's Cormac Bone.
Northbound I-15 still seeing some regular delays from 90th South up to 5300 South. Maybe a little heavier due to residual traffic buildup from a crash that was near 5300 South. That's since cleared off the road. Northbound Bangerter Highway still pretty heavy as you approach the 201 freeway, and some scattered delays both directions on the 201 freeway from 8400 West over to 7200 West. Give Dad the biggest hugs ever this Father's Day with a Minky Couture blanket. Save 50% with promo code KSL50 in stores and at minkycouture.com. The best blanket ever. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather today, the high will be 88 before it drops down to 76 tomorrow with a 20% chance of rain. And then it starts to kind of inch its way back upward. By Friday and Saturday, we're back into the upper 80s as the high temperatures. Right now, it's 63 degrees and cloudy in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
It's the reality of living here in a desert, especially one where we've had so little water in the last bit, that we got to be careful. We got to protect what's around us.
Hot, dry, windy weather blew across the state over the weekend, sparking several new fires, including 2 near Saratoga Springs, and another fire in central Utah still burning close to I-15.
Did you see the one, any of the, from Saratoga Springs?
Only online. I didn't see it, yeah. But I was watching it from Kansas because we flew back for a funeral.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Things are not looking much better today. We do have an elevated fire danger. Things may cool down. The weather is supposed to be a little bit cool, but boy, it's going to be hot again this weekend.
So Utah Fire Watch, we have special coverage on the summer fire season that's already well underway. And it's one of the things where we just say, look, we've been talking about this, it feels like for months. I think maybe the first wildfire was like March of this year or something like that. But I just think it's important. So one of the things that I saw this morning about the Saratoga fires was at least one of them was human caused, and that people are reconsidering target shooting. It's like, you know that it's dry out there.
Reconsidering
you know that it's dry.
Fireworks, right, yeah.
Yeah, reconsidering fireworks.
Well, another thing that's hurting us is that a low-pressure system swing by northern Utah will keep afternoon winds in play through Wednesday. Because of these winds, we'll likely see elevated fire danger in response. Temperatures will fall in the upper 70s Tuesday and Wednesday, but more warmth is anticipated as we get closer to the weekend. High temperatures, high winds, really a bad thing for wildfires.
You know, I remember last year the wildfire down in your neck of the woods, the Torrey.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the fire. But it burned so many acres, and I remember talking about it, saying it was going to take basically fall precipitation to put the fire out, and I think that is what happened.
Yeah, it was down near Sevier and Wayne counties, very close to our place in Torrey. I still see the remnants of that. It was devastating, and it was huge. I think I told you I had court one day in St. George. I had to drive through the area there. It was like, I don't even know why they let cars go through there, through the Coucheram area. It was really just people in these camps and these groups of men who were getting up and getting ready to go fight the fire, men and women, I guess.
So the one in Saratoga Springs that I saw, that I was following more closely online, was the one that was close to the LDS temple that's down there and the new high school that's down there. And there was just so much black smoke just pouring out of this fire. And it ended up, 175 acres, but they say the fire is now contained, but it's not out yet.
And it is continuing to get hot. If we're having this many fires, Holly, in the second week of June,
I know.
Think of what it's going to be like at the end of August and early September when it really gets dry, and we've had the drought that's going to be upon us. We have had some favorable rain and cooler temperatures, which I think have been good, but the future just doesn't look good. And for northern Utah especially, these wildfires are just going to continue, and the fire crews are just going to be on their toes all summer.
All summer. So I saw this story too this morning, and I thought it was really interesting because we talk about air quality, and we talk about what we need to do to get air quality to improve. Well, not have wildfires is one thing we should do to get better air quality.
Yeah, it seems like the story I think you're referring to is that the wildfires are actually reversing years of progress for our ozone pollution. We don't talk about ozone because maybe we feel like we've taken some steps, but the wildfires, I always think of the fossil fuels as really causing the problem with ozone, but wildfires do as well.
Right, and that's one of the things that this article is saying. This is from a Fox station, but back east. And this says U.S. smog levels fell by 11% between 2003 and 2015. Of course, we had stricter pollution regulations. But since 2015, increasing wildfire smoke has driven a 4% rise in ground level ozone. And if the wildfire smoke continues to grow, the smog levels could return to 2003 within the next 20 years.
Yeah, and I recall a couple of years ago doing a mountain biking trip in Canada, and I don't remember the exact area, but the entire time we were there, we never saw the sun.
Yeah,
it was
because
just
of
so
smoke.
thick. The smoke was so thick, and even the visibility was bad. And of course, we're riding bikes and breathing it.
Yeah.
But we drove for maybe 100 miles and just saw nothing but smoke.
Yeah.
It was so thick in the air. And that was in Canada. It came into the northwestern part of the United States too. I mean, I've never seen anything like it in my life. But that's the way of the future, maybe.
Well, we could smell it, right? So when the wind carries the smoke, you can smell the wildfires. Whether they're from Canada, we had some of that smog. Actually, it made for really beautiful sunsets.
Yeah, it did.
It was the fire,
the golden orange
the smoke.
Sunset. Yeah, people need to be aware, and of course, we're preaching to the choir here, but. Chains on your car, not putting out fires, fireworks, shooting your firearm into the weeds, shooting at targets, not recognizing that there's a spark that comes up when a bullet hits a rock or something hard.
Or a lawnmower even.
Yeah,
remember last year there was a big fire. It actually burned an apartment building. He was trying to cut down weeds. The person who was pushing the lawnmower, trying to cut down weeds to reduce the fire risk, lawnmower blades hit a rock, sparked a fire, burned down a building.
And think about the people in California. They're on edge every year. We have problems here in Utah, but every once in a while you get a home or a development like the one last year down where we were talking about. I wish I could remember the name of that fire that we had in Utah. We did evacuate some recreational properties and some summer homes, but it wasn't like what you'd expect in the Napa area or what they were happening.
Well, the heavy populations, right?
Years ago, right?
Yeah. So the one that's burning in Millard County right now, they've named it the Tower Fire. It's about 1,300 acres. It's only 10% contained, but because there's not a lot of population down there, they haven't had to evacuate anybody or anything.
Yeah, and so I know, and you probably know people too who serve on these fire crews, these summer fire crews, working in the ski industry as I do. Believe it or not, there are a lot of people that are seasonal. In this winter, they work on a ski patrol. In the summer, they do fire watch and firefighting and things like that. And of course, there are a lot of firefighters that work there anyway because of their paramedic status. But I mean, they're just on their toes right now, and in ways that they shouldn't be. Even last year, we had one in Ogden Canyon, just really close to my house, and it got very, very close to some homes up there. They were evacuating homes up there.
Yeah, it was Monroe Canyon Fire. I think
right.
That's the name of it. So again, it's another thing where you just have to be very, very careful. I'm really worried about the America 250 celebrations because the fireworks are going to be crazy. Roy City has said they're not going to do fireworks this year. So far, they're the only ones I know of. But because it's the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, I'm guessing that fireworks shows are going to be insane, which to me means we better be really, really careful.
They will certainly limit some. There may be other cities that do that as well. I know sometimes in the Weber County area, they'll say no fireworks east of Harrison Boulevard.
Right, east of a certain area. I know, but still,
yeah.
Look, so it's a stark reminder that we're only at the beginning of fire season here in Utah. We've mentioned that. As the summer burns on, you can stick with KSL for the latest. You can go to kslnewsradio.com and click on Utah Fire Watch at the top of the page to track the ongoing fires burning across the state.
And stick with Inside Sources as well, because we're going to talk when we come back about President Trump storming out of an interview with NBC's Meet the Press over follow-up questions of unfounded claims of rigged elections. Really interesting interview and a kind of a fun go back and forth between he and the reporter when we come back.
1 in 5 Utah kids face hunger, and the summer months make things even more challenging, because families can no longer rely on school meals to help them get by. These days, the situation is more dramatic than ever. That's why Utah Food Bank is again holding its annual Summer Business Food and Fun Drive, encouraging organizations of all sizes to gather food for donations for families. Beginning in early June and running through the end of August, the Summer Business Food and Fun Drive is your chance to make a difference for families seeking emergency food requests to help stretch their budgets. Rally your coworkers, friends, or a community group of any size to make a collection. Every dollar earned turns into more than $7 in the form of goods and services to help those in need. What are you waiting for? Organize your Summer Business Food and Fun Drive today. To find out more or to get ideas for your own DIY fundraiser, visit utahfoodbank.org.
Looking for a memorable summer staycation? Enter now for your chance to win a family getaway in Logan. One lucky winner will enjoy 2 nights at Marriott Hotel in Logan and delicious meals at both Elements Restaurant and Prodigy Brewing. Plus, enjoy an epic outdoor adventure of your choice of UTV riding or snowmobiling, weather permitting. Sponsored by Cache Valley Tourism. Head to ksl.com/win to enter now. Don't wait. Visit ksl.com/win and enter today.
If you're ready to buy a home or sell a home and you're worried about the current real estate market because of what you've heard from some of your friends or family, well, we're here to tell you that you really shouldn't be worried, because now is a great time to buy and sell with our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Omada Real Estate.
And here's why. Buyers have more options due to increased inventory, which gives them the power to negotiate for repairs, interest rate buy downs, and closing cost assistance. While at the same time, sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes, with home values that are higher today than ever before. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, the current real estate market presents a win-win opportunity for both buyers and sellers.
But you still do want to make sure that you're working with a team of real estate experts you can trust that can get you some great results. And that's our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Omada Real Estate.
They have helped thousands of Salt Lake City homeowners, and they're ready to help you. To get started, just go to thesternteam.com. That's thesternteam.com, or Google The Stern Team.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Will?
When I was 50, my whole life fell apart. I lost my job, I lost my wife, I lost the house, I lost pretty much everything except for my life. When the IRS came calling, I just didn't have it in me. I felt like Wile E. Coyote, just waiting for that IRS anvil to drop.
Then Will found Tax Relief Advocates.
I heard their advertisement on the radio, I wrote down the number, and I made the call that changed everything. The IRS gave me a bill for $40,000. Tax Relief Advocates got that down to $3,200. I've paid 9 cents on the dollar. Now that's a great deal in anybody's book.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Will did and call TRA for a consultation.
But for me, the real win is I got my life back.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-488-2578. 800-488-2578. That's 800-488-2578.
Who is Farm Bureau Financial Services? At our core, we're relationship builders. We're home and auto bundlers, life insurers, farm and ranch protectors, and retirement planners. We're neighbors, community members, and friends. We're the people you can count on now and for years to come. Find a Farm Bureau agent at fbfs.com/protect. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
When you hire CertaPro painters, you're hiring peace of mind. They make the entire painting process worry-free because they're professionals and they do the job at the right price. And right now, celebrate America's 250th anniversary with CertaPro painters and get $250 off projects of $2,500 or more. Schedule by July 10th and let freedom and fresh paint ring. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
And expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
Well, widespread and so far unfounded claims of election fraud and rigging in California as local election officials continue counting ballots almost 1 week since the polls closed.
And now the GOP candidate for Los Angeles mayor appears to have been eliminated from the race. Remember, in California, it's the jungle primary, so it's the top two primary candidate vote getters who go on to the general election regardless of party affiliation.
And that means Spencer Pratt, the Republican, at least for now, has missed the cutoff. And some people thought including him, thought that he was going to get 50 plus 1% and that he would avoid the runoff altogether.
Yeah, he gave an interview the day before the election where he said he thought he would 50% and avoid the general election runoff. But in fact, he is now in third place at something like 26% of the vote.
Yeah, and so a lot of people are very upset about that. The president's upset about it. Like you said, in the California primary, they're still counting the votes. We're talking about the L.A. mayor race, of course, and nearly 1 week after the polls closed. Here's ABC's Trevor Ault with more.
We know Spencer Pratt had generated a lot of buzz and also a lot of controversy with his conservative run for L.A. mayor. It does appear, though, that this could be the end of the road. He's needing to finish in the top two of the primary, and progressive councilmember Nithya Raman has now surged past him. She has a narrow lead, about 3,100 votes. That's less than 0.5%, but she's gained on him every day since election night.
Yeah, so that race we'll be watching very closely. And you would expect that the L.A. mayor's race would be a Democrat-led race, but I think that this Republican Pratt was thinking that the Democrats were going to split the vote so much that he would end up getting enough to go on.
He did post on social media that if he doesn't win, he's not going to live in L.A. anymore, so maybe he's thinking about moving boxes. I don't know.
Take my marbles and go somewhere else. Yeah. Well, that's not helpful.
So it looks right now like Los Angeles current mayor Karen Bass and then city councilwoman Nithya Raman will be. It looks like they're both Democrats. Looks like they'll be on the general election ballot in November.
Yeah. So what was interesting, and we talked about this a little bit last week, is that they do this in California. They did the same thing in the gubernatorial race, where you have, as I recall, the primary or whatever they call it is sort of a runoff between everybody, whoever's in. And in California for the governor's race, I think they had like 60 candidates or something.
Yeah, I think it was 61.
The mayoral race may have been big as well. But it's not Democrat, it's not Republican, it's not unaffiliated. It's a free-for-all, and the top two go out, which means, of course, if you have too many Democrats in the pool, they dilute themselves and you get yourself in trouble, and a Republican would come out of it. That didn't happen in the L.A. mayor race. At least it doesn't appear to be. And according to the interview we just heard from Trevor Ault, the election, numbers that are coming in seem to hurt the Republican Pratt even more and more.
So that one's the LA mayor's race, but in the California governor's race, it does look like it's going to be a Democrat and a Republican. So that's interesting.
Because the top, I recall, the top 7 candidates included 5 Democrats and 2 Republicans. So you would expect that a Republican would come out of that.
Steve Hilton, right now he has just under 26% of the vote, and Xavier Becerra has 27.2%. So everybody else will end up dropping off. But the president did kind of a wide-ranging interview on Meet the Press with Kristen, I think it's Welker is her name, and he's alleging election fraud because he's not happy with the results in the race for mayor in LA, and he's kind of been fuming that his endorsed candidate, who was Spencer Pratt, fell to third place.
Yeah, here's ABC's Hannah Battah with more on that.
Trump this weekend abruptly walked out of an interview when confronted about his claims of election fraud.
We're like a third world country. Your elections are crooked, and you're crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked, and so is ABC, and CBS, and CNN.
But Mr. President,
you're one-sided crooked networks. All right, let's call it quits, because I've had enough.
Trump's claims echo those he made after the 2020 election, which preceded the January 6th attack on the Capitol.
Yeah, I just hate to see this continued discussion of election fraud, and because we didn't have that 10 years ago. At least I don't recall it happening very often. But now it seems that, and it comes from both sides, but when somebody's party doesn't win, they claim that that it's rigged or there's something going on.
So one of the things that's interesting and slightly amusing, but also annoying, is he keeps attacking female reporters for one thing, right? But he was talking to NBC. He doesn't even name NBC. He names other stations, right? Well, you're all corrupt, but he didn't name NBC, who is the organization behind Meet the Press.
Boy, and that woman held her ground. It was a really interesting. Yeah. It was Meet the Press, and she just kept pushing and pushing and saying, but wait a minute, but wait a minute, but wait a minute. And he got more and more agitated and finally just stood up and walked out.
He did.
He patted her on the back on his way out the door or something.
So there were some other things that they touched on before he cut the interview short. He said, and we've been talking about, or at least watching the news all weekend, the war in Iran. So one of the things he said, first of all, is that even though we've now hit 100 days, today's 101, yesterday was the 100-day mark, that he doesn't feel like that war has violated his promise not to start new wars. But he also said that the U.S. will finish it out militarily without a peace deal. So you either have a peace deal or we're going to finish it one way or the other.
Yeah, or we're going to have this non-war become really much more violent.
Yeah, and we've talked on the show about when does a ceasefire not a ceasefire? And over the weekend, Iran and Israel were shooting missiles at each other. Now Israel is saying, okay, well, we won't shoot at Iran anymore, but we're still going to fire missiles at Lebanon. How is that a ceasefire? I don't even get it.
No,
right?
I don't get it either. And of course, Congress has finally weighed in. I think the House of Representatives narrowly passed a resolution.
And the Senate did too, the War Powers Act. Yep.
Okay, yeah,
Yep.
Which Trump has indicated he believes is unconstitutional.
So they also, this interview with Meet the Press, they also talked about the economy. President Trump warned the Fed against raising rates. He said it would be the wrong way to do. He said they may have to cut rates because we have such a hot economy. I'm not sure that the economists agree with that, but it was part of this whole overall conversation that kind of meandered a little bit.
And most of the economists that we've talked to, at least that I've talked to on this show, seem to indicate that as inflation increases, it may make sense to have the rate increase to bring that down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the economics of that.
It's a fine
but
dance,
it does
isn't
seem,
it?
Right. And
Yeah.
so we have a new Fed chair. Of course, we don't know what he's going to do. The former Fed chair is staying on the board. And of course, it's a board. It's a board of, I think, 12 members or something like that.
And
so
they vote as a board on
one
whether they're going to
person
raise
can
or
make
not
that
raise.
decision,
Yep.
right.
So they also talked about the anti-weaponization fund, and the president still defended it, but they've basically walked away from it now. So not only did the court say put a stop on it, I think that Hegseth is finally just like, we're not implementing it.
And I think that the court, or maybe in terms of the lawsuit, indicated that not only is it done, but it's done forever. You can't bring it up again. They didn't want this to be something that could be revisited in the future, and it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So,
Yeah.
and I think that the pushback was so tremendous on that, and Trump again still defends it because he thinks that that the Justice Department has been weaponized against certain of his allies during the Biden administration, including some of the people that participated in the January 6th.
So he, just back to his conversation with the reporter. So from Meet the Press, he says, "You're crooked." And she said, "To be fair, I'm not crooked." And she said, "You're either crooked or you're stupid," the president said. So I don't know why he treats journalists this way, but He just said, your elections are crooked, you're crooked, ABC's crooked, CBS is crooked, CNN's crooked, Meet the Press is crooked.
And she works for NBC.
She works for NBC.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes a personal
and
attack.
Then he called her darling.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
He said, "Thank you, darling," and then walked out.
Yeah,
so
it's hard. I think he's very hard on female reporters. For whatever reason.
He really is. In the next hour of Inside Sources, the governor has declared this week as Family Connections Week. So we're going to spend the entire hour looking at families, all types, all kinds, and we're going to talk about how we can work better towards gaining and strengthening connections with our own family members. So please stay with us. We will be right back.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. Utah's 2 senators are asking for the Department of War to list the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as a Christian religion after failing to do so on a list of official religions. Senator John Curtis and Mike Lee both posted on social media, Curtis saying it's unacceptable for government to classify a faith against their own belief, and Lee is saying the decision is reprehensible. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. In the California primary, it's been a week since the final votes were cast, but officials are still counting ballots in the race for mayor of Los Angeles. ABC's Trevor Ault has the latest.
We know Spencer Pratt had generated a lot of buzz and also a lot of controversy with his conservative run for L.A. mayor. It does appear, though, that this could be the end of the road. He's needing to finish in the top 2 of the primary, and progressive councilmember Nithya Raman has now surged past him. She has a narrow lead, about 3,100 votes. That's less than half of a percent, but she's gained on him every day since election night.
President Trump says the election is crooked and the Republican candidates are being cheated. 2 Democrats are vying for a seat that will be soon left vacant by Utah's longest-serving female legislator, Carol Spackman Moss. Julie Jackson and Erin Jemison are on the ballot for House District 34, which encompasses parts of Mill Creek, Murray, and Holiday. According to the Salt Lake Tribune, Jackson is a former teacher and president-elect of the Utah School Boards Association, and Jemison is the director of public policy at the Utah Domestic Violence Coalition. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 55 points for the day, although that's not quite as high as it spiked after the opening bell. The NASDAQ up 325 points to 26,061. Coming up, it's the warmest it's going to be for the next 2 or 3 days. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-979-3535. That's 800-979-3535. 800-979-3535.
12 Utah law enforcement agencies working with ICE.
It's not ICE telling us what to do. These are our terms and conditions.
How do those partnerships benefit Utah communities?
Yes, it's public safety.
And why are most agencies unwilling to talk about it?
And it screams to the public that we are hiding something.
The KSL investigators uncovered some possible clues through public record requests.
You know, they said the quiet thing out loud.
KSL investigates police and ICE policy tonight at 10.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Improve cash flow with a home equity line of credit. Here's Cormac Bone.
Delays have really eased out from the morning drive. No issues on I-15 between Ogden and Provo. Eastbound Pioneer Crossing, though, still a little heavy approaching I-15. 2100 north, also pretty heavy in Lehigh as you try to get onto I-15 eastbound. And we do still see this closure northbound Mountain View corridor to 126 south from that crash earlier this morning. Seeing cracked, curling, or missing shingles on your roof? Don't wait. Save big during S&S Roofing's huge summer sale. From a small repair to a full replacement, SNSRoofingUtah.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Yeah, so weather today will be partly sunny with highs in the upper 80s. Tonight it's going to get windy, though. Some patchy blowing dust coming in after midnight. Tomorrow, a small chance of showers. Highs only of 76 degrees in the mid to upper 70s. Right now, it's 64 degrees and cloudy in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Family. Isn't it about time? Longtime Utahns might remember those old commercials that aired on TV and radio, encouraging people to spend more time with their families.
And this week, the state of Utah is actually doing something to focus on that same kind of thing, connecting with families. We've got a special hour looking closer at families here on Inside Sources.
And we want to kick off this special coverage with Amy Winder-Newton. She's the director of the Utah Office of Families, and she's in studio with us. Thanks for joining us, Amy.
Hey, it's good to see you both.
We're happy to have you here. So, look, I know that this started with a proclamation from the governor, and it's not very long, right? He talks about social capital. He talks about families being the heart of our neighborhood and communities. He talks about the fast-paced world. It's easy to get caught up in work, school, and screens, right? And then, so he is setting aside this week, June 18th to 14th, June 8th, 8 to 14, as Family Connection Week, as a time to disconnect from distractions and reconnect with loved ones. So tell us about that.
Well, we all know we need to do better. We are on phones constantly. Everybody's busy, but we know it's so important, especially as the summer's beginning. We have kids who just got out of school. Mm-hmm. Parents are staring down the next 10 weeks going, what are we going to do? And so we thought it was really important to emphasize that you've got to take time to connect. And so this week we're asking families in Utah to take a few minutes, find something intentional that you can do with your family with screens put away. And there's so many ideas on our website, strongfamilies.utah.gov. One of the partnerships that we love is Every Kid Outdoors. It's something that the Department of Natural Resources through the Division of Outdoor Recreation is doing, where they have these passports and 14 different activities that both young kids and older kids can do to engage with the outdoors. And that is so good for mental health. It's great for family connection. So we're really excited about this and looking forward to having people participate.
I love the idea of put the screens away, because you think about the kids are being the ones that are constantly looking at the screen. But we were at dinner the other night, and there was a couple our age sitting there and having dinner. The entire time, the husband and wife were both on their cell phone. They never said a word to each other. And so I thought, well, it's not just the kids. It's not just the high school and junior high age kids that are doing that. We're setting a bad example ourselves as adults.
Absolutely.
Too.
I mean, anytime your kid has to compete with Instagram for your attention, that's just not good. So it sends a powerful message. And we want to make sure parents understand, it's great if you come up with a media plan in your family to be able to have time that, if you're going to have intentional screen time, that's great. But figure out how to make it intentional and not just everyone being so distracted all the time.
So I learned something from you, Amy, and I wonder if you could tell our listeners about what happens with these really tiny short videos that are like a minute or 2 minutes versus maybe a 15 or 20 minute episode of an actual show.
Yeah. So what we're finding is when you're on social media, they're looking for your attention. That's what they want. That's how they're making money. And so YouTube, for instance, and many other social media channels have these shorts where they're designed to be very attention-getting, to create emotion, to give that dopamine hit, because they want to keep you scrolling. They want to keep you on there. And so it's so much better, especially for young children, instead of being put in front of YouTube to watch those shorts that just goes one after another that has the autoplay. It's so much better for their attention span and their brain development to watch a longer episode of something. So, if you've got a 15 or 30-minute episode that they can watch instead of something that has a storyline, that doesn't give those dopamine hits that then make it harder to take devices away and also change how their brain is processing. So it's better to look at that.
Well, good news. I just 1 second.
No,
I just
absolutely.
saw that Mr. Rogers is now on YouTube, that you can watch the episodes from all those many years.
Love Mr. Rogers.
Hey,
That's
so
great.
can you tell our listeners and me a little bit about the Utah Division of Families, what it is, what you do?
The Utah Office of Families.
Yes.
Yeah, so a few years ago, almost 4 years ago, Governor Cox created the Office of Families as a way to look more proactively, more upstream, look at prevention of how do we improve the outcomes for kids? And we know we do that by strengthening families. And so my charge is to look at things that we can do to strengthen families. We've done a lot in the protecting child space with social media regulation, getting cell phones out of classrooms. There's things that we're doing related to the child tax credit. How do we help families get more help when they have young children financially? And so there's lots of fun things I get to do to look at how we improve that family connection and what do we do from that point of view from a government standpoint.
As if you're not busier with your other job.
Yeah, well, it's good to have 2 part-time
Still
jobs,
do
I
that.
guess.
Oh, yes, right.
So one of the things, one of the links off of your Strong Families webpage talks specifically about this week on Family Connection. And the very top story on there is just 1 meal a week makes a difference. So can you talk to us about eating together, what that does?
Yeah, so family dinners together, it sounds old-fashioned, but the data is so strong on this. If you can have at least 5 meals a week with your children, it is incredible to see how much it improves. I mean, and we've got the data that shows it through the SHARP survey, but it shows grades improve, their mental well-being improves, they are less likely to engage in risky behaviors. And so those family meals, now, of course, you don't want to all be on your phones during family meals, or then you don't have that effect.
Right.
But when you're putting away your screens and you're having that time together to talk about the day, to dive a little deeper, it's so, so critical. And so we would encourage people, whether you're ordering pizza or Chick-fil-A or whether you're making a really great home-cooked meal, like sit down together and take that time. Don't be so rushed. Don't overschedule your kids to the point you can't stop and have those family dinners together.
And even 5 meals together a week
would
make a big difference, especially if, like you say, Amy, putting the cell phones down, putting the screens down, putting everything down. Let's just sit down. Let's just have a meal. Let's just talk about what's going on with the family, what's going on with our community.
Yep, and even if you can do 3 or 4,
yeah,
the more meals you do together, we see the data that's very, very clear. Kids get better outcomes, and so it's a thing.
So it's interesting to me because we have done family meals forever and we still do. And I still have like a set time every day. People know if they want to come over, even if they don't live at home, come over at 6 o'clock, Mom has food. And we're still doing that. So it feels unusual to me to think about families who don't eat together in that way.
Yeah. And I do think we're living in a world where kids are so overscheduled.
Oh, yeah.
Parents think, oh, yeah, we need to have them involved in every little thing. What used to be rec leagues are now, super leagues with sports where there's this demanding schedule. And I think we got to think really hard about, is that really the best thing for our kids to be that overscheduled?
How can your office get this word out? I mean, this is so important. I know we're getting it out to our audience today, but how does your office get this to the broader picture?
Well, we are doing a few campaigns that help emphasize this. So one specifically is the chat campaign, and you can go to letschat.utah.gov. But you may have seen some of the billboards around that say parents don't need to be perfect, or that talk about why connection is so important. And that's because for the governor, one of his priorities is to have more positive childhood experiences, to actually see that number increase. Mm-hmm. And positive childhood experiences are those connection points, are those things where kids connect with people in their lives and feel like they belong to a community of sorts, or a family, or, that they have connection in school. But as we look at at this campaign, that's one of the ways that we're getting this out. And we have found one of the governor's goals is to increase this by 10% by 2029. And so this is one of the ways that we're doing it is through this campaign. But it's been a great success. I mean, we've had a lot of people reach out. And the reason why positive childhood experiences are so important is when you have childhood trauma, it actually helps overcome some of the effects from trauma. And so it's important.
We're almost out of time for this segment, but I wondered if you could just speak to people who maybe don't have kids in the home anymore, maybe empty nesters. How can they strengthen family connections?
Yeah, well, I fit that category, actually. So my kids are in their 20s, and I have a 30-year-old even. But there's things that you can do. So we have a family text group called the Little Figs, because our last name is Newton, Fig Newton.
Oh,
but we will text you. We'll send updates. Sometimes we'll send a picture of where we all are at the time. We stay connected that way. We have our family dinners that we have scheduled on Sunday evenings twice a month. And that's a way you can stay connected. You can stay connected to your family through doing virtual meetings together. If you've got kids out of state, set up a Zoom and do a meeting with your kids and be able to connect once a week. But you've got to set aside the time. And that's the thing that gets tricky is we can go through our busy lives. And if you're not intentional about setting aside that time, it doesn't happen.
Hey, can you stick around for another
Yeah,
segment? We've
absolutely.
got you here, so we're going to keep you if we can.
Sounds good.
All right, we're going to talk about how families can stay connected more with Amy Newton-Winder when we come back.
How will we ever defeat the British?
By remembering what we're fighting for.
General.
A country of our own that will one day celebrate 250 years.
How will we celebrate, sir?
By going to Strong Volkswagen, where every vehicle is a dime.
A dime, sir?
Yes, one dime down at Strong Volkswagen.
Hear, hear.
With great price reductions on 250 vehicles.
It sounds glorious, sir.
Oh, it is. Lease new 2026 Jetta S, just $235 a month, $235. All-wheel drive Atlas, just $432 a month. And you get a lifetime warranty. Lifetime.
And financing, sir?
Those with a job and a dime shall drive away.
One dime down.
The 250 sales event.
Save thousands with event pricing on 250 vehicles.
At Strong Volkswagen.
For over 70 years, Strong Volkswagen.
Located downtown, strongvw.com.
strongvw.com.
And no tax, right, sir?
Well, for details, call 801-596-2200.
911, tell me exactly what happened.
My son and his wife and their 2 children haven't responded.
Susan Powell disappeared on a snowy morning in 2009.
And I said, Josh, where are you? You need to get home.
And her husband will never be held accountable.
Your wife is missing, Josh.
Yeah, but
And you want to think about it for a couple of days?
I'd had this overwhelming feeling that he had done something to her already.
I'm Dave Cawley, host of the podcast Cold.
Then he starts making phone calls to Susan's phone.
Hello, Susan. We are on our way back.
It's the deepest of deep dives into this tragic tale of abuse.
Where was Josh when Susan disappeared?
I don't know. Of one mother's desperate attempt to escape.
This is me, covering all my bases.
Help prevent it from happening again.
Our focus has and continues to be finding Susan.
Listen and learn by following Cold wherever you get your podcasts.
Kitchen and bath transformations start with AMC Building Materials. AMC Building Materials is a large kitchen cabinet and countertop supplier serving both wholesale and retail customers. AMC offers factory direct pricing on all interior remodeling materials, giving you exceptional value without sacrificing quality. Most standard items are available for quick payment and pickup right away. AMC Building Materials provides professional service, free design, and free on-site measurements, along with expert installation by top AMC professionals. From bold kitchen designs to beautiful functional bathrooms, AMC delivers outstanding value with styles you'll love. And best of all, most projects can be completed within just 10 days. Come experience beauty you can see, quality you can feel, and service you can trust. Get directions to the new AMC Building Materials showroom at 3678 South 700 West today and schedule your free estimate. Visit amckitchenslc.org. That's amckitchenslc.org.
Higher taxes, soaring inflation, record low interest rates, and the skyrocketing cost of healthcare. The list goes on. Retiring successfully today is a lot more complicated than ever before. Learn how you can tackle the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement today. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio. It's this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL, News Radio 1027.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-771-1300. That's 800-771-1300.
Let me ask you a question. You have a best friend? How big would it shock you if somebody told you that your best friend just killed somebody?
911, what's your emergency?
Someone on the other line said they kidnapped my son, and they're demanding $500,000.
I've asked myself so many times, what in the world happened?
Ransom is available now. Listen at ransompodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Inside Sources.
We're continuing our special hour looking at the importance of families and family connections here in Utah.
And Holly's going to be on the ball.
You're just talking to our guest.
I know. Look, it's part of a declaration. It's not just a declaration from Governor Spencer Cox. It's part of a whole campaign, really, to focus on families in Utah and strengthening those connections.
Yeah, and Director of the Utah Office of Families, Amy Winder-Newton, is with us again here in the studio to talk about ways parents can connect with their kids. I have to digress for just a second, Amy, because I have worked with as a prosecuting attorney and as a defense attorney, and I just recall when I started learning more and more and more about the gang issue, and I know this is off topic, but not necessarily, I found that the reason most kids joined gangs is because they were their family and because they weren't getting enough family at home, and they could sense the love in these.
They wanted belonging.
Group. They wanted belonging. I mean, and I thought, man, every time I'd go to one of those conferences, I'd just go home and hug my kids and, hey, let's do something. Let's do. I mean, it was like it was so compelling to hear why kids digressed and why they got away from the good in what you consider good and bad is because of the lack of family. It's so important what you're doing.
Yeah, we all need connection.
Right.
I mean, every single one of us needs to feel like we're part of something. And so, yeah, it's a huge issue.
Yeah, and we all need love. We all need support and comfort. And you're going to get that wherever you can if you're a young person, I think.
Yep, absolutely.
So I wonder if we can just go a little deeper. You were talking about letschat.utah.gov, and you mentioned billboards, and I asked you during the break. So the billboards that I've seen are like 4 in 10 kids won't talk to their parents about mental health struggles, right?
Yeah.
And that's a campaign that you're doing.
Yeah, it's the same campaign. So it's the same part of this chat campaign, which is Family Connection for Healthy Futures is what this campaign is. And it's to improve positive childhood experiences like we talked about earlier. But what we found, so anytime we do a campaign, we do a pre-survey to kind of see where people are.
Sure,
and then we do a post-survey to see if the campaign made a difference, right? And so as we did this, it was really interesting. A few things that we found. 93% of parents believe that their teen is comfortable expressing their feelings. And yet we look at the SHARP survey, which is an incredible survey that we do with our school.
Right?
Yes, we do. Department of Health and Human Services does through the school system. But we found that only 39% of severely distressed kids feel like they are not comfortable expressing their feelings. And so there's a disconnect there that we're seeing. We also saw in this survey, when we asked parents, what's your biggest concern for your kid? They said, mental health. But when you start drilling in on what do you talk to your kids about, like 4 or 5% said they talk about that mental health. Like it ranked so low on what they talk about with their kids.
Wow.
And so we wanted to make sure parents recognize, like, you may feel like you are talking to your kids when they come in the door and you say, how was your day at school? And they tell you surface like what their day was like. What we're saying is you got to spend more time one-on-one and give them their space to be able to tell you when it's right for them. So I'll tell you, for instance, when my kids were teens at home, we would have the surface conversations, get your chores done, whatever, how was school? And we would have family dinners, which I think was super good. But I wasn't as great about when they first came in the door saying, what happened at school today? Because that's when things are on their mind. Like if I wish I'd have spent more time there. But it was always interesting too with my teens. Do you know when they wanted to talk the most?
Late at night.
Yes. When I was in my bed, ready to fall asleep, and you hear a little knock on the door, and they come in and they'd sit at the foot of my bed. Yeah. And I'd flip my lamp on and we would sit and talk. And that's when they feel very talkative, right? It's the end of the day. They're reflecting on their day. So we've got to make space for when it's right for them to really open up, because in the middle of doing whatever, sometimes that's not the moment for them, right? So being really cognizant of when your kids are ready to open up, be ready for them.
And you can't lose that opportunity.
No.
When a kid's sitting at the foot of your bed and you're tired, you've got to perk up and have that conversation, because, Amy, if you don't, you're not going to have the conversations.
Yeah. Then they go to bed feeling like they don't have somebody to talk to. Right.
So you have a green couch, and I want you to tell me about that.
So as part of our chat campaign, we have a display that we started. We originally started taking it around to the state tournaments when the state basketball tournaments were happening. And so we have this green couch and this great backdrop, and then little prompts of things that you can do. And the whole point is for it to look like a living room and to encourage parents and their kids to sit down on the couch and talk. And so we have prompts around where, they can ask different questions and things like that. And so we've been taking it around, and it's been fun. A lot of our health departments around the state have said, we want the green couch. So we actually ended up making couch covers and pop-up banners for all of the health departments that they're going to get this month so that they can create their own display. But it represents that time of connection, sitting down together and really connecting with your kids.
We're going to cover all the couches at the health departments with a little green blanket or something to make it the green couch. What a great idea.
That's right.
That's awesome. Look, I wanted to talk to you also about the First Ladies event that's kicking off this whole week, really. And it's Show Up for Service, right? But it's service opportunities. Show Up for Summer Service Fair. And I went last year. It was really, really fun. Can you talk to us about that?
It's going to be fantastic. This will be a great kickoff for Family Connection Week. So it's tonight at Thanksgiving Point at Electric Park. And it's from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. But you are welcome. Come and bring your little ones. Bring your families. Come if you don't have children. But it's an opportunity to engage with nonprofits. They'll have booths. Some of them will do little on-site service projects that you can participate in. Others will have sign-ups that you can, understand better how to get involved and serve with your family. There's bounce houses. There's going to be food trucks. It's going to be a great event. So we would encourage anybody who needs something to do tonight to kick off Family Connection Week, stop on by Thanksgiving Point at Electric Park to the First Ladies event. First Lady Abby Cox is so dedicated to this issue. And as a state, both the governor and First Lady have been great leaders in pushing for more service opportunities for kids. Lieutenant Governor Henderson has done a lot with pushing for this and high school requirements even for service. And so anyway, we hope people will come. It's going to be great.
And I imagine that there are a lot of parents who are wondering what they can do, what might be available, that might learn something coming to an event like this. Because, like you say, you've got various nonprofits, various groups there that can say, hey, come talk to me. I've got some ideas. We've got some plans. We've got some things that you might want to take advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. Our website, strongfamilies.utah.gov, we've curated a list of a whole bunch of different activities going on. And we've even worked with different entities to get discounts for families for this week for ideas. But there is no better way to connect with your family than through service. I mean, truly. Your phones are put away. You're helping other people. It doesn't get better than that.
It is a really good activity to do as a family. So they are also eligible for prizes tonight, but also a large prize. And I don't see what the large prize is, but I do see that you have to sign up for a volunteer opportunity, and then you have to take a picture or a video of you at the project and tell the story upload it to showup.org and your social media, and then the winner will be announced at the end of the summer.
Yeah. It's going to be great. We're really excited about it.
Do you know what the big prize is? Can you tell us?
I can't tell you. It's a surprise.
It's a surprise.
That would ruin the surprise.
But volunteering as a family makes a lot. I recall
It's
doing
really
that
great.
ourselves. It is a great bonding experience. Put the phones down, put the screens down, volunteer, take a project on as a family, even if it's helping a homeless community or serving food or something like that. There are things that you can do.
Yeah. Well, and we're sending a message to our kids when they see that example, that this is a priority. And we hope to encourage our state's dedication to service throughout the generations. And so this is a good way to do it.
It really is. And I've taken kids to serve in a local food bank, but we've done a variety of things, including handing out, I think, Thanksgiving meals to people who are unsheltered on Thanksgiving. There was things that we did around Christmas. I mean, there's all kinds of opportunities, and it's way better when you do it with your family. It really is.
Absolutely.
Well, as we talk about families, I think we would be remiss to not talk about all the different kinds of families out there. So our family is definitely non-traditional. So we have, it's not blended in the traditional sense, but we have kids from multiple countries, multiple ethnicities, disabilities, etc. But we're also raising a granddaughter. So now we're a multi-generational family. We're going to talk about multi-generational families and single-parent families and blended families. So stay with us.
My name is Tom.
My name is Cindy.
We give to and volunteer with United Way at our community free health clinic.
We know our time and money are going to the right places.
We don't just wear the shirt.
We live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour, the National Park Service has released comments they received from signs asking people to tell them if they see anything portraying America in a negative light. They got over 35,000 comments, and most were critical of the Trump administration, calling for more funding to national parks and asking for the parks to keep relaying historical information, both good and bad. Volunteers and organizers gathered over the weekend to catch and band geese at Ogden Bay. Volunteers went out on airboats to catch the geese, and after banding them, they were quickly released.
The reason we're banding, we can tell mortality rates, survival rates, migration patterns, and we can just keep track of the overall health of the population.
Waterfowl banding coordinator with the DNR, Rich Hansen, says this is the perfect time of year as baby geese are just getting their flight feathers, so they're easier to catch. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Target has voluntarily recalled baby wipes that were linked to bacterial contamination that can be life-threatening.
Testing of Up and Up fragrance-free and cucumber-scented baby wipes uncovered the presence of two types of bacteria. In adults, the bacteria can cause infections that can lead to skin and eye irritations. However, in infants and small children whose immune systems aren't fully developed, the bacteria can enter the bloodstream, possibly causing sepsis or pneumonia. Those who bought the Up and Up baby wipes are encouraged to stop using them immediately and to contact Target for a full refund.
ABC's Sherry Preston reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow up 75 points for the day, 50,941 the totals. The NASDAQ, though, making a strong recovery after Friday's losses, up 373 points to 26,083. Coming up, we've got warm temperatures today before a bit of a dip for the next couple. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
This year, Utahns are celebrating the 250th anniversary of our country, Utah style, because everything from Utah's Red Rock deserts to our snowy peaks are worth celebrating. It's our land, our communities. Join us in celebrating our country with Utah style. Join the statewide celebration. Get involved at america250.utah.gov. Brought to you by America First Credit Union.
Hey, it's Julie. Your wildest dreams will come true when you win this getaway to Logan. Get revved up for a half day of mountain adventure on a side-by-side from Beaver Creek Lodge. Soak up Logan's small-town charm by wandering downtown for local shops, live theater, and fresh flavors, including lunch or dinner at the family-friendly Prodigy Brew Pub. Experience living history at the American West Heritage Center and have dinner at Elements Restaurant with patio dining by the river. Dream away for 2 nights at the Marriott. Jealous? Plan your trip at explorelogan.com.
If you need your house painted, you want CertaPro painters. They have 70,000 5-star reviews. Why? They're unflinchingly professional and they get the job done at the right price. And right now, celebrate America's 250th anniversary with CertaPro painters and get $250 off projects of $2,500 or more. Scheduled by July 10th and let freedom and fresh paint ring. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. 'Cause I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bang. Here's Cormac Bone.
No major accidents or delays all across the Wasatch Front. I-15 clean and clear between Ogden and Provo. It's just normal delays to expect. Scattered and light in both directions on the 201 freeway in Magna from 8400 west to 7200 west. And in Lehigh, Pioneer Crossing, scattered delays both directions from Redwood Road over to I-15. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Yeah, so weather today, a mix of sun and clouds. The highs are going to reach the upper 80s, almost 88 degrees today. Tonight, though, the wind comes in, blows in some dust after midnight, and temperatures drop into the mid-70s for highs for the next couple of days. Right now, it's 66 degrees and mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
When we talk about strengthening families, I think it's important that we make sure we know that there's more than one definition of family. Not everybody's family fits the quote-unquote traditional family mold where you've got a dad, a mom, and biological children.
And 2.5 kids, right.
Right. And I don't fit that mold at all.
No, you don't. And it's actually popular in some Eastern cultures to have what we call multi-generational families living together. But it's actually growing in popularity here in the West as well.
Yeah, and I think it's so interesting because some of what we think is the quote-unquote traditional family is really a Western idea of what family is. And there's so many non-Western cultures that have different ways of defining family. So I'm super excited to have joining us Dan Carlson. He's an associate professor of family and consumer studies at the University of Utah. Hi, thanks for joining us, Professor. Oh, I can see you, but I cannot hear you. We will work on that for 1 second.
Yeah, if you can flip your mic on there. I notice a lot of cultures do have multi-generational. I mean, mom and dad or grandma and grandpa, whatever you want to call them, are not put into some sort of facility to the extent that the family can still continue to raise them. And I think that's a very healthy thing to do. I mean, some people don't want to live with mom and dad after they've
that's also
left
true.
the house, but yeah.
But I think if you grow up with that as the norm, then it's a lot different. So thanks for joining us again, Dan. Appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. My pleasure. Happy to be here.
Okay, I wonder first if you could talk to us just about multi-generational family living and maybe some cultures where that's more the norm than it is here in the Western culture.
Sure, sure. Yeah. I mean, you let off, I think, with a really important point is that we're actually very unique in the West, and in North America, especially when it comes to living with extended family, right? Or living in a multi-generational household where you have more than, one generation of adults living right with you. So in the West, it's like 11% of households, right, are what we call an extended family or a multi-generational family. And that is about 4 times fewer than you find across the rest of the world.
Wow.
Right. So it's more common in Europe, where about a quarter of families live in multi-generational households. As you mentioned, like Asian families, Asian cultures, it's about 40% of families live in extended family households. So here in the West, like, again, we're very different compared to other societies and other cultures. Within the U.S., right, there's variation. So, white Americans are the least likely to live in multi-generational households. About half as likely as, say, like Hispanic families or African American families. And of course, Asian American families are the most likely, with around 30 to 35%. Of families, of Asian families living in that kind of household. So some pretty stark differences, not only internationally, right, but also within the U.S. itself.
Dan, do we know whether or not not that there have been studies or just sort of any empirical evidence at all that multi-generational family can be a stronger family, or maybe benefit the kids to have other generations living in the home?
Yeah. So I think, Pew Research Center has done a bit of work on this. And, they survey, Americans quite regularly. And they asked them this question. It wasn't too far back, maybe like 2022, about, sort of what is their experience living in a multi-generational household. And for the, more than 50%, almost 60%, rated it as a very positive experience. And they rated it as very positive for a number of reasons. One was, the closeness, right, with family members. And also just the kind of like care and support, right, that is received. And one of the big reasons why people live in these sort of arrangements is not only financial necessity, and we can talk about that if you want, but also just the care and support that kind of household enables, right? And whether that's care for younger family members, for children, or whether that's care for older family members, right, who need assistance, it's an arrangement that really facilitates, right, those kinds of relationships. And so people find that to be a very rewarding experience for the most part.
So I have a variety of points of exposure to Pacific Islander families, and it seems like whether they're living in a multi-generational household, there's maybe a different concept of family almost. So I have a son who is Asian who served a church mission there, and everybody was auntie, right? You were auntie or you were uncle, and it was a sign of respect, right? And in fact, I have a cousin who is half Hawaiian and half white, a first cousin. And when we were introduced to somebody else, they thought it was just like the auntie designation. I was like, no, we're actually legit cousins, right? Can you talk to us about those kinds of family arrangements?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, this actually gets at a really interesting point, and I could go on for a long time on this, but I won't, belabor any points here. But family is something that we actually actively construct, right? Like we love to think of like, oh, kin is blood and kin by law, right? But if you think back just to, a couple hundred years ago, children who were sired by men were illegitimate. They were not family, right? Even though they were blood. And people who are legally our family, right, may not necessarily be considered by individuals to be family, right? Step families are an example of that. So we construct family, and sometimes we make family where traditional definitions of family don't exist. So in the US, this is often observed in African American communities. We call this fictive kin. And LGBTQ plus communities, this is called family of choice. Other terms are like voluntary kin or intentional family. And there's this notion that family is really just a label that carries a set of meanings with how we think about others and our relation to them, and what we expect of them, and what they expect of us, and what we do together, and how we treat each other, right? So family is really about sort of our obligations to one another. Am I obligated to support you? Am I likely to receive support from you? How we spend time together? What holidays, right, we engage in? Do we go on vacation together? Things like this, right? And so, you find this notion of extending family relationships and labels beyond traditional sort of sources in instances where those kinds of family are blocked, or just it's more of a kind of a cultural norm, right, to think about family as something that is more about my relationship to you and how we treat each other than it is about blood or law.
Yeah, I'm wondering, we have about 30 seconds left. Why it is, do you think, and maybe this is a longer answer than I expect, that North American white culture is not more embracing of the extended family?
I think one, it has a lot to do with just our ability to be more independent, and having a high standard of living, being able to support oneself. I mean, there are some downsides to living with other people, like privacy, and we really value our independence here, financial independence and our decision-making independence. And so, I think people have historically kind of sought that out, and that means smaller families and just single, like married couples without, aunts and uncles and grandparents living with us.
Yeah, well, thank you. That was Dan Carlson, Associate Professor of Family and Consumer Studies at the University of Utah. Thanks for joining us this morning. When we come back, another interesting angle to parenting and families are single parent and blended families. We'll talk more about those kind of families next on Inside Sources.
What if you had the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi and the price didn't change for 5 years? Thanks to the Xfinity Summer Savings Event, you don't have to worry about that part of your future. Now through June 15th, get gig Wi-Fi for just $50 a month for 5 years with equipment and unlimited data included, no strings, no commitments. And get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. You're guaranteed 5 years of Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi that keeps you protected from online threats. Plus, you can even try Xfinity Mobile free for a year. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities during the Xfinity Summer Savings Event. Get it now at Xfinity.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account, taxes and fees extra after 12 months. Regular rates apply to mobile. Select Xfinity. Internet required speeds vary. Use of fiber coaxial cable. $50 a month for 5 years. No commitments. Go to Xfinity.com.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
A family office is a team built to handle the 3 biggest financial responsibilities a family faces: wealth management, tax strategy, and estate planning. Most firms only manage your investments and refer the rest out, hoping everyone stays aligned. At Trajan, we built something different. Your wealth, tax planning, and estate planning are handled together inside one firm under one roof. There's no guessing whether your CPA, advisor, and estate attorney are truly in sync, because our team works together every day on your behalf. When your financial life becomes more complex, your advice should become more coordinated, not more fragmented. One plan, one trusted team. Call Trajan today, 855-TRAJAN-1. That's 855-TRAJAN-1.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
911 coming
exactly what happened.
My son and his wife and their 2 children haven't responded.
Susan Powell disappeared on a snowy morning in 2009.
Your wife is missing, Josh.
Yeah, but I've
And you want to think about it for a couple of days?
The podcast, Cold, has gone deep on these kinds of stories.
I'd had this overwhelming feeling that he had done something to her already.
Clearly, something happened on that couch because he cleaned it.
Find and follow Cold wherever you get your podcasts.
Here's the tale of the daily Medfield. Same old pharmacy, same old bill, but those prices kept rising higher still.
Till the savings Wrangler rode in, cool as can be. Tap GoodRx, saving massively.
No plan? Don't matter none. Up to 80% off. The deals are done.
Discounts hitting harder than Ma's chili. Dang. That one little app does all the rest.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
Lenny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use, now what?
I had a friend that went to My Computer Career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Bad driving habits are hard to break, but good driving habits are easy to form, especially when they can lead to a discount on your auto insurance. With Farm Bureau Financial Services, the safer you drive, the more you save. Drivers like you are saving an average of $351 per vehicle. So buckle up, learn more, and find an agent at fbfs.com/save. Individual savings results may vary. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I volunteer with United Way to help the homeless in my community learn computer skills and build a basic resume. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
The new Inside Sources.
So we have some breaking news just since the show started from the Department of Defense, Holly.
Yep. So they have reclassified the religions. It's still 31, but what they have done is drop Christian in front of all of the religions that they were saying, okay, Christian Catholic, Christian Pentecostal. They've dropped all those. And so that kind of satisfies, I think, in some ways, the whole members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints aren't Christian. Now they're just listed alphabetically, literally just alphabetically. So some are questioning, does this actually fix the problem? And some are saying, well, that's good enough.
Well, it probably is good enough. And quick response from the Department of Defense.
Yes, they did. And they just said, our job is not to adjudicate theological debates. So that was just this morning.
Well, even since the show started. Well, let's talk more about families, because we typically think of families having two parents, traditionally a mom and a dad, but a lot of families, for whatever reason, may find themselves with only one parent.
Yeah, and I know these single-parent families often face some really unique challenges, but also some really interesting opportunities.
So for this segment, we want to talk about single-parent families and blended families, and joining us now is Megan Brimhall. She's the founder of the Single Parent Project. Megan, thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So tell our listeners what the Single Parent Project is.
So the Single Parent Project is really just a community for single parents. We started back in 2020, having no idea what was around the corner with COVID hitting, but I feel like that actually helped us because we were able to kind of just jump in and immediately start supporting these single parents. But the idea is really just because at one point in my life, I was a single mom. I had a phenomenal support system. My family was close. They were able to help me financially when needed. Just good friends that were able to support. And that is not always the case. So after my life kind of, moved on and I remarried and things like that, the Single Parent Project was just a vision that I had to create that community for single parents. So we help them. We have support groups twice a month. We provide free activities for them, things like taking them to the aquarium or to movies or the zoo or anything that we can do to just kind of let the single parents that don't have the finances to go out and do extra things. We love to do that for them. We also help with Christmas, back to school, Thanksgiving. This year we partnered with Ken Garf and did Easter baskets. It was so fun. Just all of those added expenses that, I mean, especially right now, everything is so expensive. So to have to go and spend, $30, $40 on an Easter basket for your kid can be challenging. So we're here to support and rally around them and want to see them grow and be successful. And yeah, that's just kind of us in a nutshell.
So Megan, I want to ask you about some of the challenges of being a single parent. So you've already mentioned the financial ones. Can you share with our listeners some of the other challenges that single parents face?
It's very lonely. When your kids are with you, and some people always have their kids with you, but in my situation, it was, we had joint custody. And so when the kids were there, your life feels full. You feel like you have purpose. You feel like you're, doing what you should be doing as a parent. And then when they go to the other parent's house and you're just home alone, and that plays a big toll on your mental health. Also trying to navigate things, you have a hard day when you're married, you have a partner that you can reach out to, you can kind of talk through it and be a sounding board. They're your sounding board. It's lonely. I know that's kind of you could find friends and things like that, but it's different when you're just alone. Mm-hmm. But I think for most single parents, the challenges are the financial struggles.
Yeah, it does seem like, Megan, that more and more families are single-parent families for whatever reason. Parents split up, or individuals will leave for whatever reason. But I think it's important to have resources like this, what you're talking about here, because parents, especially if you've been together for a while, you've had the nuclear family, what we call that, and suddenly, boom, you're on your own. Sometimes that can be really daunting for parents who maybe haven't had to work as much, or maybe spend as much time with their kids and try to find activities. So having these resources like your single parent project just seem to be so important in this day and age.
Yeah, it definitely is a big help. And you make a great point. There's a lot of, especially you'll see a lot of single moms who never worked. They didn't take care of their finances. That was all taken care of for them. And so we've actually been able to kind of get them involved in other organizations that are super helpful to help them with their finances and becoming that, financially independent, which has been a great resource as well.
Can we talk about blended families also? You said now that you have remarried. So do you have a blended family with kids?
Yeah, we do. Yep. So my husband had 3 kids. I had 2 kids, and we actually have one together. And it's the greatest thing. I know that it can be so hard. And we've been so blessed with how easily we were able to blend our family.
There are a lot of challenges to the sort of yours, mine, and ours families too, though, aren't there? That maybe some parents
Absolutely.
need to be aware of if they're entering into a situation like that.
Totally. My husband and I, honestly, we went into it when we first started even dating and we're getting serious, and we had to go into it as, look, I'm going to parent your kids the way that I will parent, that I parent mine, and I'd have to be okay with the way that he parented and things like that. And he'd have to be okay with the way I parented, because really when you leave it as I'm going to parent my kids and you're going to parent your kids, that doesn't work. So we went into it just knowing that we were going to treat each other's kids as if they were our own. And I think that worked best for us. We also, very early on when we decided that things were getting serious, we made sure that we aligned our kids up with our visitation so that it wasn't just all of a sudden we're married and now they're moving in with these strangers. They got to build the relationships as we were building the relationships. So it definitely, it didn't, I say we were very blessed, and it was a pretty smooth process. It came with challenges, it's hard to be a step parent in the very beginning, I think, because you instantly love these kids because they're an extension of the person that you love, but they don't instantly love you. So that can be a little bit of a challenge.
So I'm an adoptive mother, and I hear, well, my kids are mostly grown now, but I heard, you're not my real mom. right? And I'm like, I'm doing all the dirty work here. I count as the real mom. So I understand sometimes step parents can get that same thing, right? So I think that's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, and that is hard too, because it's like, especially when it comes to disciplining, that was always a big fear of me. It was to be the disciplinarian and have that come back and be like, well, you're not even my real mom. It's like, I'm doing the mom things. So
that's right. I'm changing the dirty diapers and taking you to junior high. I mean, I'm doing the mom thing, so I am the real mom.
And then you have the additional burden of trying to get the kids to get along and recognize that there's not our team and your team, isn't there?
Yeah. And again, I think that just going into it with, we're going to parent the same way, no matter whose kids it is. And if we disagreed with anything, if maybe he thought that I was a little too harsh, or I thought maybe he was a little too harsh, we would talk about it behind closed doors. It's just like, I've got your back when we're making these decisions. I've got your back. And even if I don't agree with it, we're not going to argue about that in front of the kids. We're going to go and have a conversation.
So we only have about 30 seconds left, but this is Family Connection Week, the beginning of it. What is one piece of advice you have for families to build stronger connections?
Oh my gosh. I think communication, communicate, talk about your feelings, talk about your needs, your wants. It's so hard to try to figure out what the other person needs if they're not talking, and when you're a single mom, or single dad, look for the resources out there so that you have a community, so you have somebody that you can lean on if you need to.
Thank you so much, Megan. That was Megan Brimhall, founder of the Single Parent Project. And look, if you missed any of our conversation today on families and Family Connection Week, we're going to have this full conversation up as a podcast. You can find it later today on kslpodcast.com or wherever you listen.
And in the next hour of Inside Sources, let's go to nation's capital for an update on congressional battles shaping up in the next week over surveillance and reconciliation. Stay with us.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Cameron Elliott. KSL's top story this hour. We've got breaking news. The Pentagon says it has fixed its mistake after failing to identify the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as a Christian faith. In a post on X this hour, the department says its goal was to consolidate a list of over 200 religious affiliations and did not mean to exclude the church from this list. Now only non-denominational Christians are classified that way. The rest are identified by specific churches. Senator John Curtis thanked the department for the swift correction. In other national news, Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight at Madison Square Garden, but the big party that went on during Games 1 and 2 outside the Garden won't be happening tonight. Here's ABC's Sherry Preston.
Agent Matt McCool with the U.S. Secret Service says because President Trump will be there, Game 3 will be different.
You will see Secret Service, police, and special agents, transportation security officers, federal air marshals, and the NYPD officers throughout the area.
What you won't see is those fans packing the streets outside the Garden. That party's been moved to Bryant Park behind the New York Public Library. There are also screens set up in Central Park and throughout Brooklyn. Security at all locations throughout the city will be extremely tight. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow Jones is down 25 points. That's just a fraction of a percent. The S&P 500 is up 42 points. That's about 0.5%. And the NASDAQ is up 317 points. That's about 1.25%. Coming up, some warm days ahead. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-979-3535. That's 800-979-3535. 800-979-3535.
Since 1947, Whipple Service Champions has been Utah's most trusted name for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical services. Got a high-priced repair bill from another company and you're just not sure about it? Call Whipple. Get a free, no-pressure estimate or bring us their quote for an honest second opinion. Totally free. Whipple Service Champions, Utah's first place for second opinions since 1947. Call 385-273-7167 for your free estimate today. 385-273-7167.
Friday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes in new inventory every day. Then they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. So you're invited to visit the movie show Friday 10 to 1, and that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit npsstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. npsstore.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. Here's Ricky Meese.
The closure remains in place in Riverton northbound Mountain View corridor due to a fatal accident at the intersection of 126 South. It has been affecting east and westbound directions as well, but it looks like you're going to be able to get through in those directions. Overall, it's a spot you may want to consider avoiding and taking an alternate route. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today we're going to have a high of 88 before it dives down to a high of 76 tomorrow. Then it's going to crawl through the 70s and 80s through the rest of the week to a high of 87 on Friday and Saturday with sun. Right now, though, it's 61 degrees and mostly cloudy downtown. I'm Cameron Elliott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, that was quick, but now Utah's congressional delegation is already thanking the Department of Defense for changing the classification again for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
And we told you just as we started the show this morning that the church hadn't been included among Christian religions on the list, which is used for chaplains. Now, the new classification, which was just released about an hour ago, doesn't identify specific denominations as Christian, but instead by their names like Baptist, Catholic, Lutheran, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
My guess is Pete Hegseth has tuned into our show this morning.
I
and got the
that
message. But let's get more on what really happened with the relatively quick change with Deseret News congressional correspondent Cami Mondo. Cami, thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
A lot going on. Tell us what you're hearing about this change, this about face.
Absolutely. This did seem, as you said, be a very quick change. I had been in contact with several members of the delegation just this morning to ask kind of how those conversations were going. I'd known that Senator Mike Lee had talked with President Trump directly over the weekend. Senator John Curtis in his office spoke with the Pentagon this morning. Representative Mike Kennedy told me he had been directly contacting the Pentagon. So it did seem like a very swift change, and it was due to these conversations that the Utah delegation really dug into.
So, Cami, I saw that you were on X and you were retweeting, I don't know, reposting, what is it when it's not Twitter, that you were talking about this conversation, and it does seem relatively quick. Do you think that taking off Christian from all of the other denominations as well, is this going to satisfy people who were saying, hey there, what's going on?
You know, it's a good question. I guess we will see how the discourse on social media will react to this. You know, we saw over the weekend, it kind of did expose this little chasm between the religious right of who can be identified as Christian and who isn't. Clearly, you know, Latter-day Saints say we do belong under that umbrella, while other, you know, denominations and sects disagree. And so I think it just exposed this rift in the religious right. And I think this is probably the easiest and cleanest way to avoid any further division there.
I imagine, Cammie, that there was pushback from a lot of sources, not necessarily just the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But had you heard that the Department of Defense was getting some criticism for this, just overall?
Yeah, and we did see a lot of lawmakers outside of Utah also getting involved. We saw Senator Crapo in Idaho. I even saw Senator Ruben Gallego, a Democrat, who over the weekend reposted one of Mike Lee's tweets and says, "I don't know why, but I do agree with you. I think this was an omission and a mistake." And so I think they did get a lot of pushback, not just from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but also just other people of these changes. And we might see more. We never know.
You never know. Look, I just have to say that you must be the queen of understatement to say it exposed kind of a rift. It's like, no, it's just a gigantic chasm that has been there for a while, but sometimes it becomes very glaringly obvious like it did over the weekend. Okay, so I want to talk to you, Cammie, about some of the other D.C. stuff that's going on. So people left for the Memorial Day recess. They're back this week. What are they working on?
Right, we are seeing, an all-out sprint. They're in the last few weeks and months of their legislative priorities that they have to get done before the midterms, before they all leave to go campaign. We're going to see the House take up that immigration funding bill. This is what they've been working on for several weeks. The Senate finally passed it after an overnight voting session last week. The House is going to try and take that up either Tuesday or Wednesday. It should be relatively easy to pass. It is a Republican priority, but nothing is ever easy in this Congress, so we will see. And then we also have to watch the FISA reauthorization. That's going to be the big fight this week. That program, which is the government surveillance tool, it is set to expire on Thursday. And so we got to see some sort of reauthorization or else that tool could expire.
So where does it sit with the House of Representatives then with respect to the reconciliation?
That should be a pretty easy thing to push through. It was taking a long time in the Senate because of that anti-weaponization fund from the Justice Department. It seems that Senate Republicans got enough of what they needed to pass that. It should be easier to pass the House, unless, of course, there's some other issue that pops up this week. But that should be pretty easy. It will be a party line vote. Could be as early as Tuesday, maybe Wednesday.
So you mentioned FISA, and it's the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, as you said. What are the hangups there?
There's just still so many disagreements about what should be included in this reauthorization. We see some, and this is a weird policy issue that is not along party lines. You have like progressives and conservatives agreeing that there need to be some big changes, specifically around warrant requirements. And then you have some others who are in the middle of each party who kind of just want this clean extension. But it seemed that they were close on a deal last week until President Trump announced his new DNI nomination of Mr. Pulte. And that was something that, Republicans and Democrats were a little upset about, Democrats especially so, and they actually tanked that vote in the Senate last week. And so it's kind of at a standstill right now.
Given the history that we have, Cammie, in this country of having midterm elections favor the party that is not in office, what do you think, or what are you hearing may be some priorities for Republicans in the next week or two as they start, or I don't know how long it's going to be before they wrap up, before they can go and start their campaigning?
We are hearing from House Republicans that they actually want a third reconciliation bill through before the midterms. Whether that's possible or not is anybody's best guess. We've seen the last two just take a very long time because these party members can very rarely agree on what to put through there. They haven't even gotten the second one, which is the immigration bill, through yet. But you're going to see, especially House Republicans, because they have the bigger task of defending the House majority. That's the one that typically always flips out of the hands of whoever is the president. And so they're going to try and push through something. We still don't know what, and they are running out of time, but that's what we're going to see them try and sprint toward.
Cammie, I keep seeing news stories that Republican House members are getting rowdy. And the news stories mean that as a way to say they're pushing back against President Trump. They're starting to break with the Republican majority and sometimes vote with Democrats. And I saw that with the War Powers Act. Where do we stand on that?
Yeah, we did see that pass last week in the House. We also even saw a Ukraine aid bill pass in the House after some Republicans bucked the president. So you're absolutely correct that Republicans, especially in the House, are getting a little antsy. They feel like they really have no place in this legislating authority the way that they used to, because President Trump likes to tell them what to do, step over them. And we're seeing that a lot more in like discharge petitions. For example, we have a Republican, I think it's Brian Fitzpatrick, working with a Democrat, Tom Suozzi, to actually put a bill in that this anti-weaponization fund that is still under intense scrutiny, to actually ban that from happening. And so you're seeing Republicans push back. That probably will pass the House because it will have support from some Republicans. And that's just the latest example of how they're trying to push back.
Is there any hint, Cami, as to what this third reconciliation package could look like or what it's about? Or is it just sort of up in the air right now and really people are keeping it close to the vest?
It is seeming to be a little bit up in the air. What we're likely going to see is some of those policies, specifically on healthcare and cutting costs, that did not make it in the big, beautiful bill last summer. It seems like Republicans are going to want to try and reframe those to make sure that they can adhere to the strict budget rules. That's why they were taken out the first time. Again, what they're doing is usually not something that is eligible for this budget reconciliation. So I'm not sure if that's actually going to make it in there, but they're going to try and pick up the pieces from some of the things they weren't able to accomplish last summer.
So when does campaign season really begin? Are we looking at like the beginning of July when people go home for the 4th of July, or sooner than that, later than that?
And it does depend, I guess, on who you are. Some of these, Republicans or even Democrats are in these really competitive primaries just to make sure they can stay on the ballot. Some of those states have already gotten that over with. But yeah, once we reach the July, especially August, you're going to see them pay a lot less attention to what comes up here. And they're going to really want to spend as much time as they can back home.
And have congressional leaders told us at all when those dates might be, when they start wrapping up the sessions?
Their calendar has been kind of changing week by week. Sometimes they'll take a day off, add another one, but they are scheduled to be out all of August. That's their annual August recess. And then they will be out all of October, specifically so they can go home and campaign.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks for joining us, Cami, as always. So Cami Mondo, Deseret News congressional correspondent.
A lot of really interesting information.
Yeah. And you know what? You know how fast Cami is? She already has an article up on the Deseret News website about how the Utah delegation helped get that change that we just talked about.
I got to hand it to Mike Lee and John Curtis. I think people did a good job of getting that done.
Yes, and Cami reported on it that quickly. All right, so another Kamala Harris run in 2028. I know that it feels like she's positioning, but some of her big supporters in the past are not too thrilled about that idea. So more on that coming up next on Inside Sources.
This year, Utahns are celebrating the 250th anniversary of our country, Utah style, because everything from Utah's Red Rock deserts to our snowy peaks are worth celebrating. It's our land, our communities. Join us in celebrating our country with Utah style. Join the statewide celebration. Get involved at america250.utah.gov. Brought to you by America First Credit Union.
Hey, it's Julie. Your wildest dreams will come true when you win this getaway to Logan. Get revved up for a half day of mountain adventure on a side-by-side from Beaver Creek Lodge. Soak up Logan's small town charm by wandering downtown for local shops, live theater, and fresh flavors, including lunch or dinner at the family-friendly Prodigy Brew Pub. Experience living history at the American West Heritage Center and have dinner at Elements Restaurant with patio dining by the river. Dream away for 2 nights at the Marriott. Jealous? Plan your trip at explorelogan.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Hey folks, Jay Broadbent here from Alpine Home Medical. I've been helping folks breathe easier for 29 years now. Trust me, at my age, I know a thing or two about needing a good night's sleep. Is your CPAP mask old and nasty? Are your masks, filters, or tubing from the pre-COVID era? Or just plain tired of the hassle of ordering supplies yourself? Switch to our resupply program. We handle everything. Automatic shipment straight to your door. Insurance billing and expert support. It's quick, easy, and keeps your sleep therapy on track. Doesn't matter where you got your machine from, anyone can join. Head to alpinehomemedical.com, click on the Easy Resupply button. That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Everything to my back is dark.
High in the alpine wilderness.
Really ugly clouds coming over from the north.
a place
The ridgeline is imposing, the escarpments, the drops.
where survival, it's dark now, I have nothing, is never certain. This is not good. My name's Dave Cawley, and I'm the host of a podcast called Uinta Triangle. It's about the disappearance of an Australian hiker named Eric.
Our conclusion and that of the sheriff is that the mountains have decided to keep him.
Come retrace Eric's footprints with me.
You have done this walk too, but this is your backyard.
Did he really make a wrong turn, or did he decide that he was done?
He is not the first or last person to vanish in this remote region.
It was haunting to see the photos. I mean, really.
Find and follow the podcast series Uinta Triangle. That's Uinta, spelled U-I-N-T-A, Triangle, wherever you get your podcasts. All episodes out now.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Running a small business means juggling a lot. Your network has to handle it all. That's where a fiber-only provider falls short. You deserve a partner who gives you a greater advantage. Introducing the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A first-ever combination of the largest, fastest fiber-powered network, the most reliable Wi-Fi, gig speeds with equipment and security included, and a 5-year price lock. Plus, it's all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. The Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A new standard for small business with reliability, security, and savings in one. When you add it all up, no one does business like Comcast Business.
Switch today. Get started for $60 a month for 12 months when you add an advanced solution to a qualifying internet package. Limited time offer. New customers only. Requires 300 megabits per second internet, security edge, and additional qualifying service. 1-year agreement, paperless billing, and autopay with bank account required. Taxes and fees extra. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025.
Any Hour Services can help unclog any drain in your house. Whether you have a backup, a clog, or a slow drain you want fixed, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Inside Sources.
So, despite her name recognition, some previous supporters of former Vice President Kamala Harris say they're not excited for the possibility that she might run for president again in 2028.
But if we're looking ahead to the next presidential election, have Democrats really put forward anyone who could defeat someone like current Republican frontrunner, possibly Vice President J.D. Vance, who's rumored to be running in 2028 as well?
So I don't even know if Republicans have decided, because it's J.D. Vance versus
Marco Rubio.
And there'll be, I don't know, a dozen other people that come out of the woodwork. But it's interesting because there's all kinds of polling about potential 2028 Democratic candidates. And there are several, I think, that kind of rise to the top. And I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting that people are saying Kamala Harris isn't a fresh enough face. I'm like, are you serious?
Well, I mean, she served as vice president for 4 years. She ran for president 4 years or 2 years ago. And so she's not a fresh face. Maybe there's a face that we don't know about yet. And maybe that's what people are thinking. That somebody that's coming out of the woodwork without any baggage.
I think the problem people face with that, if you're going to be like an unknown, you're not going to win the presidential election in 2 years. That's just not going to happen. So other people that people have mentioned, of course, are current California Governor Gavin Newsom, Pete Buttigieg. Who else are they talking about? There's several that people are talking about on the Democratic side, all men, by the way.
Yeah, so I will hearken back to Barack Obama, who perhaps this time of year, back before his first race, was
Okay, that's
a
true.
relatively unknown person
Okay.
who came out and was very
That's fair.
strong. I mean,
That's fair.
I think Cory Booker could be somebody that could rise to the occasion. I'm going to say this, and at the risk of getting in terrible trouble, that we would probably be better off as a country had we elected Hillary in 2016 and Kamala in 2024. But instead, please don't hate me, we elected the least popular president in the history of our country. And I think that part of the reason is that America's not ready to elect a female. And I know that sounds awful, but
I agree with you.
But we're just not ready. And so I think Kamala Harris, I love her. I think she would have been a great president. I think we'd be in a far better position right now, certainly on the world stage. But we're just not ready. We'll elect a man that is incredibly unpopular before we elect a woman, and that's a sad commentary, but I'm just going to say it.
I agree with you on that. We agree on a lot anyway, but I agree with you on that. And I think what we see, and we see from polling, this is not related to Kamala, but we see from polling that people generally will say, yeah, I'm okay with a female president. Just depends on who it is. And then when you have a specific name, they will say, well, not that one.
Right, yeah.
And it goes on both sides, both Democrats and Republicans, right? Because we've had Republican nominees as well. Well, not the nominee, candidates. We've had Republican candidates for president who are women, and it's the same. It's like, well, but not her.
But I remember my Republican friends doing cartwheels when Kamala Harris became the front runner. I mean, literally, like, couldn't have asked for something better. And
because they knew they were going to attack her.
Yeah, because they knew that she was going to lose, that she would have a hard time winning. I mean, Biden went down in flames. The Democrats rallied, to their credit, and all got behind Kamala Harris. But people that I know, and at least staunch Republicans I know, were like salivating at the chance of having her run against Donald Trump because it gave him a leg up.
So ABC News spoke with more than 15 former donors, fundraisers, campaign aides, White House staffers, etc., about her potential run for president. And they're saying things like, you know, look, people spent $1 billion for that 15-week run. And they're feeling a little burned because they didn't get the candidate that they were hoping that they would. She has a bundler who is a fundraiser, right, who can pull in bundles of money, which is what it sounds like. And he said if it is Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom, the money's going to be split. They're going to donate. They're going to split their donations, right? Because he thinks Newsom might have a little edge. He's currently governor. He's doing a lot on social media to counter what the president's doing. I just think it's interesting, right, that she had a short run. It was 107 days, and now they're saying, yeah, but we need a younger voice.
Yeah, and boy, Gavin Newsom is another name that is not going to go over well.
He is doing well, though.
No, he will. And those two are probably the front runners. Let's face it, they probably are. But Gavin Newsom, I mean, because I can just hear the Republicans saying, do you really want America to look like California? They're going to say that over and over and over. And some of us think, why not? But a lot of people think California is so tied up with regulation and over-regulation and just this very liberal attitude in terms of crime and a lot of other things that I don't know that the rest of the nation is ready to go full California.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting discussion. And it's weird that we are 2+ years out from that. But look, we've been around politics long enough. We know that they are starting to look at the field and say, when does the real 2028 presidential election starts? The day after the 2026 general election.
I would have thought this about Kamala, and things change every day, but when she wrote the book that she wrote, it seemed to me that was an indication that she was not going to be a front runner for the Democratic Party again, because she kind of took shots at them and Biden and just the way that things ran. So I don't know that makes sense for her to do that and then say, oh, I'm back. You know what I mean? And she was also going to run. Her name was bannered around. I keep jumping on you for the California gubernatorial race.
Right.
She didn't run for that,
right.
Which made me think, maybe she's got another plan in mind.
Yeah, I think that's correct. So I know she's going around the country. She came to Utah. She came to Utah in April and talked at the Wasatch Speaker Series, right? But she's going around the country. I think she's making a lot of points. But specifically on the Biden thing, one of the people who was a Biden aide says that they think by the time you get to the 2028 presidential election, with the book and the speeches, she has distanced herself far enough from that, but that if she had run for governor, what she would keep facing over and over is questions about, well, why did you support Biden when it was clear he wasn't able to do the job?
Yeah, I don't know that she can get away from Biden even in 2028. I think people are going to say Biden every time she says something. Well, what about Biden's economic policies? What about Biden's this?
Well, Republicans will, right? But to even get to that point, you've got to have Democrats who say, okay, we're going to put you forward as the nominee. And that's what we're saying right now is that the ABC went out and interviewed previous supporters, and they're like, kind of not enthusiastic.
Well, I hope that the Democrats have the wherewithal, I don't know, the knowledge to get somebody who can win this race, because it's very, very winnable in 2028. And it's also very losable by having somebody like Kamala Harris jump into the fold. I don't think I think that's a bad, I love her. I think she'd be a great president. I wish she was our president today. Please don't bombard me with texts.
Well, it's so funny. Look, we have somebody who texted us and said, I love that you guys are not afraid to speak your minds and potentially incur the wrath of people listening. So
yeah, well, I'm going to get the wrath. Well, that's okay.
So look, it's a discussion, and I'll be interested to see. But I just, it's so disappointing to me as a woman involved in politics that it really feels like the American electorate writ large is not ready to vote for a female president. It's so disappointing.
And you go around the world, and it doesn't seem to even be a problem.
There are places in Africa that have had female presidents making huge changes to long embedded cultural stuff there, and we can't get it done here. We just can't get it done.
It's probably not going to happen in 2028 either, unless there's somebody out there that we don't even know them yet, and they're going to come out, and we're all going to go, wow, this is great.
Sharon Eubank, Sherry Dew, I don't know.
Taylor Swift.
Swift. Right. Oh, maybe. Yeah, no, that won't happen. Okay. So, look, that was really interesting.
Yeah, it was. Kamala Harris, you can help. You can do a lot of good. Just don't run. That's my message to Kamala if she's listening. Like our Department of Defense
how they listened to us this morning, right?
Yeah,
I know,
change
right?
that. Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Well, next up on Inside Sources, we're now less than a month away from the country's 250th anniversary. Good heavens. Let's take a look at how America's changed over the last few decades and whether or not we've forgotten how to have actual debates and arguments with each other. Our America 250 coverage coming up next.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Cameron Elliott. KSL's top local story this hour. We've got breaking news. The former Box Elder County judge who pled guilty to several charges related to sex crimes against children has been sentenced to 0 to 15 years in prison. Kevin Christensen was sentenced to 3 terms of 0 to 5 years to be conserved consecutively. The judge ignored the plea agreement recommendation that they served concurrently, so Christensen will serve them one after the other instead. In other local news, a new Veterans Affair clinic is likely coming to South Salt Lake, but with concerns over traffic has delayed the process. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
The clinic would take over what is currently 7 lots and consolidate them into 1 lot at just over 8 acres. In a staff report, traffic analysis says this clinic would more than double daily trips to the area. In an email, a city spokesperson says several residents have come forward with worries over increases in traffic. And as a result, the Planning Commission decided to put off further decisions until June 18th while they go over more traffic studies and city code.
If approved, it's estimated the building would be finished by 2028. In other local news, 2 convenience store owners in Lehigh are facing several charges after a search warrant revealed several items they aren't allowed to sell. That includes THC gummies, Kratom, e-cigarettes with a list of loyal customers, and synthetic urine. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow Jones is down 6 points. That's a fraction of a percent. The S&P 500 is up 51 points. That's 0.7%. And the NASDAQ is up 370 points. That's nearly 1.5%. Coming up, make sure your linens are pressed. We've got a hot weekend coming. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:31.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
This summer, Utah Festival Opera and Musical Theater is back. We're celebrating the 250th anniversary of America with a season that sings our nation's history and yours. First, freedom, passion, and unforgettable storytelling with the Tony Award-winning musical 1776. Starring two Michaels, renowned singer Michael Ballum and Metropolitan Opera singer Michael Sokol. Then, Gilbert and Sullivan's silly and swashbuckling, okay, not really, but at least it's a pirate word, The Pirates of Penzance, plus the moving romance of the last 5 years. This year, we're even honoring the legal system with the courtroom duo, Scalia Ginsburg, and the lighthearted Trial by Jury. The first is based on the true story of two Supreme Court justices who couldn't agree on anything except for their love of opera. The second is another Gilbert and Sullivan romp that'll leave you laughing. Join world-class singers, a full orchestra, and the magic of live theater in historic downtown Logan. Bonus, Utah teachers and students get free tickets. UtahFestival.org.
That sound, it's not a clock. It's how long you've been thinking about updating your kitchen. 6 months, a year, maybe longer. Same countertops, same frustration, same someday. Here's the truth. Doing nothing costs more than you think. Because every day you walk past a space that doesn't match the home you want. Bedrock Quartz changes that fast. With over 100 in-stock stone options, transparent pricing, and a team that installs quickly and gets it right the first time. You can stop waiting and start enjoying your home. Get started now by visiting bedrockquartz.com or stop by any of the convenient Bedrock Quartz showrooms. Bedrock Quartz, your vision, our precision.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Receive 4% cash back on cruises at UCCU.com. Here's Ricky Meese.
Northbound Mountain View corridor still closed due to a fatal crash in Riverton at 126 South. Other lanes and directions are open, but northbound's a spot you want to avoid. And then in the Murray Midvale area, south of Fashion Place Mall, we have a crash on 9th East at about 6600 South. They're trying to get it moved out of traffic, but it's definitely affecting travel in that area. IFA's Step 3 fertilizer gives your lawn the nutrients it needs to stay green in the summer heat. IFA Country Stores, helping to grow the things you love. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today we're going to see a high of 88 before it cools down to 76 with a 20% chance of rain tomorrow. It's going to then climb up through the 70s and 80s through the week until Friday when we get back to a high of 87 with the same high of 87 on Saturday. Right now, though, it's 70 degrees and mostly cloudy downtown. I'm Cameron Elliott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
As we are quickly approaching our nation's 250th birthday, on July 4th of this year. There's a question we've heard. Have we forgotten how to argue with ourselves?
I think it's super interesting. We all know how to argue, at least scream over each other. That's pretty obvious. But what about actual debate? Discussion that helps us find common ground and a common path forward.
So for our America 250 coverage today, we want to talk about this question with Sam Abrams. He's a contributor for the Deseret News and a professor of politics at Sarah Lawrence College. Sam, thanks for joining us this morning.
Uh-oh.
We are having... There we go.
Okay.
We'll get him back here in a minute.
He'll come back.
It does seem, Holly, like sometimes we get to the point now in this country where rather than having healthy debate, it's a my way or the highway attitude sometimes with some of our leaders. And so it discourages debate.
Well, I really like the way that Sam started his article because he says a country that cannot argue with itself is a country that has stopped governing itself. So I hadn't thought about it that way, right? I mean, we've talked a lot about can we disagree better and can we, be kind and can we do all these things? And we do have Sam with us to talk to us about why he thinks we should be able to argue with ourselves. Thanks, Sam, for joining us.
Honored to be here. Thanks for having me.
So tell us, why do you think that it's important that we know how to argue with each other?
Oh, it's the root of everything. It's the, I mean, every metaphor you can think of. It's what enables civil society to exist. It enables culture to thrive. It enables our children to learn and to develop and to grow and to mature. It's what Tocqueville observed. It's the foundation of my belief as a Jew. We argue for the sake of heaven. It is how we make ourselves better, how we question everything and learn and figure out what's right, what's wrong, what we're comfortable with, what we're not comfortable with, the boundaries, the norms. It's really at the heart of everything we do.
All right. So you're kind of expanding my brain because I haven't heard people say that arguing is the foundation of everything. Can you break that down a little bit more?
I can certainly try. The question is, how do we find truth, right? How do we establish what we know, what we don't know? How do we figure out what makes sense and what doesn't? Well, I might have a view. My neighbor may have a view. My aunt or uncle may have a view. They may be different. In many cases, if it's my aunt or uncle, it's going to be different. And to figure out what is really going on, we have to be able to take a position, share that position, argue it, defend it, look for evidence. If we don't have evidence, we have to come and lean on some other set of views or beliefs. But the idea is it establishes truth, and that to me is really everything. It's how do we eventually get to truth, which is foundational, idea for society and faith and everything else.
So my take on this, Sam, is that we don't argue as much as we have in the past because there is less tolerance for argument, and that it is, if you're not with me, then you're my enemy, and why even have the discussion? It just seems like that's just me, but that's just my feeling on why we don't have healthy debate and argument as much as we used to.
So I sadly agree. We are living in a world where political scientists call it effective polarization with an A. And it's the idea that rather than being able to understand the other, we simply reject the other and views that are different from our own as illegitimate and not worth thinking about, not worth hearing about. And the reason I wrote the piece for Deseret about what do we do and what do we need to sort of fix this is we really need two things, and we're really failing at both. The first is we need to have a shared set of understandings about the world, whether it's readings, faith, so on and so forth. We don't have a core set of principles and a core set of background. When I argue with students, which is my job, I don't just do it for fun necessarily, you realize very quickly that they haven't read things. I can't tell you how many times I will argue with folks who have not read the Bible, who don't know anything about the Bible. I will show them, this actually is my copy of the Book of Mormon, for instance. Mm-hmm. They're not necessarily versed in that. They're not necessarily versed in the Old Testament, the Hebrew Bible, or anything, but they're very assertive about it. So to argue better first, we need to make sure that we have a shared set of understandings and texts. Then we need to make sure we actually understand and teach ourselves the skill of argument. And that is how to listen, how to not have a knee-jerk reaction to everything, how to understand causality, how to understand what is data, what are facts, how do we establish truth. And I wrote this because as a teacher with almost 20 years of experience on a collegiate level, and I spend a lot of time now in K-12 settings, I have seen that our students, have no core. There's, you see graduates and you go, what do you really know? And it's highly variable. And then even if there is a core, they haven't developed the skill set to argue effectively. This is very, very problematic. All our founders understood the Hebrew Bible. If you look at who wrote some of these documents, they were theologians. They went to Princeton and were students of the Judeo-Christian canon. They all had a set of values that they understood and could work from. We don't have that today.
So I've looked at your article, and you're talking about K-12 schools, charter schools. So it's kind of a self-evident question, but at what age should children be learning the skill of arguing / debating?
It's everything. They should be learning it as soon as they can reason and as soon as they can talk. So when I work with high school students, we talk about evidence and causality. But with kindergarten students, and I did this with my son last year when he was in kindergarten, we're not going to look at statistics and empirics, but let's talk about ice cream. Do you like sprinkles on your ice cream? Why or why not? Or let's pick 2 flavors. Why do you like one flavor versus the other? And then, you basically compel the students to explain it and justify it and, learn how to verbalize their views and listen to others. And then, of course, at the end, everyone has ice cream. So this is something you can do as early as kindergarten, and it can be very, very effective. The issue in so many cases, especially as we've gone very therapeutic, and I'm not opposed to therapy at all, but we've gone so therapeutic that we've taken away the idea of understanding that disagreement is the core of our democracy and our civil society, and learning how to disagree respectfully, responsibly, and manage those disagreements. That's everything. If we don't do that, we're heading into a civil war, and that would be a real shame.
You've used the word causality twice, and I want you to, in the minute that we have left, just explain what you mean by that word as it relates to healthy argument.
Sure. So causality is when you're talking to a high school student, they will just posit something. This is a truth about the world, and my response to them is, it may be true, it may not be true. How did we get there? How do you know this is true? What factors, bore into your belief system? How do we know that's true? How do we get there? It may be true, but walk me through the link of data, circumstance, context, and evidence. And once you can do that, and you can show me that, if A, B, and C happen, QRS happens, then let's talk about it. And let's talk about something called confounds, which are other possible explanations. But it's a whole set of skills that we have forgotten how to teach.
Wow.
And these things can't be done on TikTok. They have to be done slowly with reason. And it's not something that's easy. It takes some time and it's hard. I'm sorry for cutting you off there.
No, it was great. It was wonderful.
Yeah, no, we appreciate Sam. And thanks for being part of our America 250 and just such good thought-provoking articles that you're writing lately. So thank you for that. We really appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
So, okay, Greg, have you ever heard the term book club and gone to a book club?
No.
Okay. Usually, and what I think of is a group of friends getting together to talk about a book that they're all reading. But what about if it's friends getting together to read in silence? We're going to talk about that when we come back.
If you're ready to buy a home or sell a home and you're worried about the current real estate market because of what you've heard from some of your friends or family, well, we're here to tell you that you really shouldn't be worried, because now is a great time to buy and sell with our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
And here's why. Buyers have more options due to increased inventory, which gives them the power to negotiate for repairs, interest rate buy downs, and closing cost assistance. While at the same time, sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes, with home values that are higher today than ever before. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, the current real estate market presents a win-win opportunity for both buyers and sellers.
But you still do want to make sure that you're working with a team of real estate experts you can trust that can get you some great results. And that's our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
They have helped thousands of Salt Lake City homeowners, and they're ready to help you. To get started, just go to thesternteam.com. That's thesternteam.com, or Google The Stern Team.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio. Or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
Hey, honey, I was thinking about updating the house a little.
A little?
You know, new siding, new windows, gutters that actually work, maybe even a new deck.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, I called RGS Exteriors.
Well, that's a good decision.
When it comes to upgrading your home's exterior, the right choice is easy. RGS Exteriors specializes in siding, windows, gutters, and decking that transform the look and protection of your home.
Hi, Tim Brown, RGS Exteriors. My family has been building and improving homes in Utah for 5 generations, and taking care of homeowners is something we take very serious. With over 1,300 5-star Google reviews, 21 Best of State awards, and our 10-year workmanship warranty, homeowners know they can trust RGS. Over 200,000 families across Utah have trusted RGS Exteriors with their home, and so can you. Schedule your free estimate today at 801-280-3110, 801-280-3110.
Did you really think Pure Talk was just going to sit back and watch America turn 250 years old without doing something awesome to celebrate? Of course not. That's why they're raising $250,000 for America's Warrior Partnership by the end of July. America's Warrior Partnership is on the front line of preventing veteran suicide. They've had extraordinary success, and here's how you can help. When you switch your cell phone service to Pure Talk this month, you'll be invited to round up to support America's Warrior Partnership. No pressure, but if you do, Pure Talk will match your donation dollar for dollar. And to further celebrate 250 years of our extraordinary democratic republic, Pure Talk is offering unlimited talk, text, and data for just $34.99 a month. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. That's pound 250, say Mike Rowe. And happy birthday to us.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Roland Hall is an independent school in Salt Lake City that blends rigorous academics with hands-on learning and community engagement, helping students grow into curious, creative, and impactful leaders. Director of Belonging, Equity, and Impact, Chandani Patel, joins us with more.
At Roland Hall, we believe that meaningful learning extends beyond the classroom and into our community. That belief is why we created the Center for Community Impact, a place where students, faculty, and community partners come together to address real challenges. Through action projects, outreach initiatives, and collaborative research, our students develop not only skills, but empathy and a lifelong commitment to positive social change. This spring, we hosted our annual Impact Summit, where high school students, educators, and community leaders came together to celebrate a year of meaningful work and to look ahead. We're actively looking for local organizations, businesses, nonprofits, and community leaders navigating challenges who want to partner with Roland Hall students to find impactful solutions. If that sounds like something you'd want to be a part of, we'd love to connect. You can learn more at rolandhall.org.
By investing in student growth and education, Roland Hall is helping shape Utah's youth into future leaders of our communities. They're building a more engaged, thoughtful, and capable generation that is making a difference throughout the state. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Utah homeowners enter to win a new AC from Vyrock Heating and Cooling. Visit VyrockAir.com. All applicants receive a free AC evaluation. Vyrock Heating and Cooling. VAIRockair.com.
Inside Sources.
So, I have belonged to book clubs before where you read the book and then you go and you discuss the book. But there's a newer form of book clubs that are silent reading clubs. So you kind of get together and then you read by yourself silently.
That just seems kind of weird. You know, my wife has invited me to have a book club between the two of us because she'll read books and she'll say, let's talk about it. No, I don't read. I mean, I'm sorry. I just don't like to read books.
Mr. Attorney, come on.
I know. I read things like that, but to sit down and read a book is just painful.
So super interesting concept.
Anyway.
Well, look, I read a lot, and a lot of that has to do with commuting, and so I listen on Audible. It still counts as consuming books. But I've had some really interesting book club conversations, but this is a CNN article about silent book clubs. And it's just sometimes you need a break, right? So the way they start this is dozens of people explored Margaret Mitchell's house, the historic Atlanta property where the author wrote Gone with the Wind. Now it's a museum. So they did this little tour, and about a half an hour later, they were all sitting, reading quietly.
So I would totally enjoy a book club like that, or a book club where we talked about books. I mean, I really do. For me to do it by myself is something I wouldn't do, but to sit down with somebody and later on talk about it would be, I think, interesting.
It is interesting, right? But this sometimes, I don't know, and I don't know if the reason they started this is because we have such a hard time carving out time to read nowadays. I mean, I know reading in the United States has been dropping. So, is this just a way to say, hey, look, I know that I like to read. I know you like to read. Let's sit and read. And we can read quietly. I'm a really fast reader when I am reading physical books. I will read something considerably faster than my husband, for example. So we could read the same book. We just wouldn't be able to discuss it live time because we wouldn't be on the same page.
And I shouldn't say I don't like reading. I do. My problem is if I pick up a book and I like it, then I need to read it. I need to finish it, and that's terrible because you can't. If I pick up a book and I don't like it, then I don't like it pretty quickly, and then I'm like, okay,
you're
I'm
funny.
Done with this.
So I have to tell you this. So I used to read physical books, and now I told you, now I consume digital books, mostly audio books. But I used to read the first part, maybe a fourth to a third, and then I would go read the end of the book because I did not want to be surprised. I don't like surprises. I don't like mysteries. So I would go read the end of the book. And then if I liked how it ended, then I would go read the middle. So as an audiobook listener, it has actually changed my reading habits because I will go all the way through. It's too much work to forward to the last chapter. And so now I'll listen all the way through. So I don't peek anymore at the end. But I used to do that all the time.
Another thing you do that's very interesting to me in your audio reading is you speed audio read.
Absolutely.
You read a little bit. You play it a little fast.
1.8, 2.
Time and a half.
Yeah, time and a half.
So you can get
double
through the material faster.
Yeah. And when I hear people on a podcast or audio narration and it's just normal speed, I was like, oh, you drag so much. So our producer, Andy, said he does that too, reads the end of books. So look, it's just fun. And I just think, it's a good idea to read. I really think reading is important. I think lifelong learning is really important. It's just an interesting concept that somebody took that and said, okay, hey, let's do it silently together.
There you go. Join a book club.
All right. It can be a silent one. Okay, so today is Monday, June 8th. I just have to tell you, so it's National Best Friends Day, which is great. It's the kickoff for Family Connection Week, which is great. But it's also the day in our family where we have 3 birthdays, so all on the same day. My son, that we adopted from Russia, my daughter-in-law, who married into the family, and then her child, who was born on his mom's birthday. So all on June 8th. So June 8th is a fun party day for us.
I got just a quick shout out. Yesterday was my anniversary. So that was a
happy anniversary.
Yes, yep.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome. So it was on this day in 1845 that Andrew Jackson died. He was the 7th U.S. president. He was 78 years old, which I think was kind of old, actually, for the time.
Yeah.
In 1900, Estelle Griswold was born on this day. So she became a birth control advocate and pioneer. She was the defendant in the Supreme Court case Griswold v. Connecticut. So I asked you during the break, do you remember what case that is?
You told me it had to do with contraception.
Yeah, legalizing contraception for married couples in 1965. Before that, even married couples could not necessarily get contraception to help plan their family size.
That was as recent as 1965?
Our lifetime.
Wow.
Yeah.
But she was born on this day in 1900.
1900, yeah. Yep. Okay, so let's see. On this day in 1949, George Orwell's book, 1984, was published. And we've talked about this before. It was not meant to be a guidebook.
No, and it was a book that when I read it in the, 70s, people really thought there would be that 19. That's really how it would be. Of course, it was way ahead of its time in a lot of ways.
I know, right? And we still have like Groupthink or Big Brother.
Right.
Those all come from that book, 1984.
Right, yeah.
We were not supposed to be living in it. I will just say that. Okay, it was on this day in 1978 that a Nevada jury ruled that the Howard Hughes, quote, Mormon will was a forgery. So I only remember some of that story, right? But anyway, all this stuff about Howard Hughes, and then they ruled that it was a forgery. It was also the next year, so in 1979, that the NBA approved the Jazz move from New Orleans, where it makes sense to be called the Jazz, to Utah.
And it's interesting because the franchise carries the name.
I know.
You're the Jazz.
You're the Jazz.
They couldn't have called us the Mountains or whatever this.
Well, they could have, but they kept the
it's
name.
Funny. They keep the name because that's the name of the franchise.
They did, and they moved it from New Orleans, where it makes sense to be the Jazz,
It's like
to
the
Utah.
Los Angeles Lakers.
Right.
They came from Minneapolis, where they were the land of many lakes. You know what I mean? And Minnesota, I should say.
Oh, yeah.
They used to be the Minnesota Lakers.
And then I have one more, and then you can do your closing arguments, but I didn't leave you very much time.
It's okay.
It was on this day in 2020 that former astronaut Kathy Sullivan became the first woman to reach the deepest point of the ocean, the Challenger Deep in the Marianas Trench. She was also the first American woman to spacewalk. So highest highs and lowest lows, this woman did both. Walked in space and went down to the bottom of the Mariana Trench.
Wow. So why can't we elect one to be president?
Well,
okay,
that's
I'll get
a
off
good
of that.
question.
I'll get off of that. That's not
What are
my
your closing arguments?
argument. You know, you and I missed Friday. I missed part of the show. I left a little bit early, and you missed all of the show because we were both attending funerals. You for a brother-in-law, you were in Kansas, and me for my mother-in-law here in Salt Lake. And it just got me thinking about the concept of the funeral. And I know that's kind of a weird thing to talk about, but when you attend one, I've attended and presided over several recently because I lost both of my parents. You realize how, I don't know, how they bring people together in a way that maybe you don't expect. You have family that are sitting down and doing things, and it's sad that you have to get together for something like that, but you do. You get together for the funeral. You get together and you talk and you know the person that you're all celebrating isn't there anymore for obvious reasons. I've always thought if I could have one wish in my life, I would attend my own funeral. I mean, I think a lot of people feel that way because you'd really like to see what people had to say about you, and you can't. And they talk about what a great person you were and this and that. And I've just thought, you know, this funeral that I attended, and I don't know how yours was, it's not my business, but you know, it was short. It was an hour. It was fun. We had good time. Went to a local LDS chapel and had food, everything but funeral potatoes, and then you know, sort of talked about it. And I think maybe it's a Western concept the way we do funerals, or maybe it's just something that we do. It's a Christian concept. I don't know, but I think it's important that you support family, that you support friends, that you show your respect for people, even though they're dead, with attending these things. I don't even know where I'm headed here.